Wowzers. Well, I hope you got your seatbelts on because we have a lot of territory to cover tonight in a good way. Well, I guess in a good way. You know what kind of stuff we look at here. But I got tons of stories and a lot to get into. I want to welcome you and say thanks also for being here. I'm KJ. This is KJ's What Happened. And a few things I want to cover before we get started, though. I want to do a few little channel update things because there's a lot happening. So first off, the most minor, but still, I've been talking about this UFO video I've been working on for a couple weeks, and there's other things I work on in between. But you know, I can't force things out, and I almost gave up on this one about a week ago because I just wasn't finding anything that was connecting, and I didn't feel I was going to have anything original to share with you. And that's the way I am with these videos. That's why I appreciate your patience, because I only want to put stuff out that I feel matter. Well, finally had a breakthrough this week on this. Now I'm super excited about it. It'll be up either tomorrow or Sunday. And I found what I needed, and wait till I show you what I got. It's going to be a good one, I believe, with UFO activity and, what else is happening with that. That's one. Number two, merchandise is finally going to be up next week. So I had a few months ago, several artists sent me some ideas, and I was tinkering with those, but I realized I needed to do a lot more work on my own. So the way I work, it's taken me a while, man. I just kept being, as creative as I could and getting into this and trying to have some fun and trying to find what I liked. But it took me forever, man. But I finally had a breakthrough just a couple of weeks ago. I figured it out. And all I can tell you about the designs I've created is, once you see them, I'm pretty sure you'll nod your head and say, yes, that's definitely a KJ, or that's definitely a scariest movie ever designed. And we'll see. I've never done this before, so we'll see how it goes. If you guys like it, that's cool. If not, I'll be every month bringing in like different artists or whatever, that have contributed, and then I'll be switching stuff up and trying new things as well. It's a lot of fun. I didn't realize creating these things would be so much fun. That's really what it is. So now it's just making things that are cool and interesting and that, you guys are going to like. So we'll see. Third thing, quickly, I want to cover. Some of you guys know I have sponsorships. That all comes through a company, and there's a couple companies that are connected with tons of us here on YouTube that are offering all these different sponsorships. That's why a lot of videos you watch, you'll see the same people, different people talking about the same products, VPNs, gold and silver, Raid, the game, stuff like that. So these companies started getting a lot bigger the last couple of years because of all the censorship. And I even have the phone number to the guy that, got me in with the company. I've talked to him on the phone because I was always weird about this. I never wanted sponsorships or anything for years. YouTube was fine. And of course, it's all changed, and we know it's a different landscape now. But these are cool people, the ones I've talked to. They're also into the stuff we're into, and they get it with what's happening on YouTube. So what they've done is, you guys haven't heard about this yet because it hadn't been released, but what they're doing is they're creating a whole new app and then like site. And it's going to be basically dedicated to all of these channels over the last few years that have been censored, some removed, stuff like that have been had videos removed, or even the whole channels removed a time or two. I had a channel removed like 6 years ago. But anyway, I'm just saying, most of these channels that are on the edge of YouTube, they're creating a place where we can all upload anything we want there, completely unfiltered. I already give you guys, I put everything I can into what I do on these videos, but throughout the week, as I'm working on bigger things, bigger videos, I'm always seeing little things where I can make a quick, short video. But a lot of times I won't, because the footage I would need would be too edgy, for YouTube. And you got to be careful with stuff like that. Also, I got burned on Vimeo. I had, for the last couple of years, was uploading shorter music videos and stuff to Vimeo and putting it on my website. And then Vimeo took both of those channels, or two of my channels, down. I have a third still up over there, within a couple days of each other, man. So it wrecked my site for a while too. And it also just, that was tons of fun little side videos I do and was putting up there, and it just kind of sucked. So anyway, I'm excited because I still have that in me. I can always create short form videos and stuff. And I think this will be a cool place to do it. So I'll let you know once they have that set up and what it's all going to be about. Okay. All right. So enough about me. That was a quick update on everything. Thank you for being patient. Thanks again for being here, you guys. Thank you, moderators. Huge shout out to my Patreon and PayPal friends out there. I really appreciate y'all, man. You have no idea. And if you're not supporting the channel through Patreon and PayPal, please consider it. I'll leave links below a little later. And let's go ahead and get started, man. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get our Friday evening underway. Hope you're doing good. Comprehensive sex ed proponents admit teaching children sexual pleasure is a primary goal. Gross. Oh, boy. Kathy Roos, Senior Fellow and Director of Human Dignity at Family Research Council, wrote, "The facts of life have not changed, but inclusivity and sex positivity," these words they come up with, "but inclusivity and sex positivity and other popular buzzword concepts have changed sex education." Roos, wow, interesting name. It's a Roos. Roos is the author of a new brochure titled Sex Education in Public Schools, Sexualizing of Children and LGBT Indoctrination. She observed that while many studies have demonstrated comprehensive sex education fails to achieve its stated goals and results in increased student sexual activity, school systems are devoting up to 70 hours of classroom time per child to sex education, with many of those hours now spent on the concept of sexual rights and radical sexual ideology for youth. This sounds, well, we know where this stuff comes from. That's so Marxist, it's not even funny. Radical sexual ideology for youth. Do you want your kids learning the concept of sexual rights and radical sexual ideology, like in middle school? Come on. Or grade school? The American College of Pediatrics also asked the question, after 40 years of comprehensive sex ed in schools, why are STDs at epidemic levels? Great question. Most of the proponents of pleasure-centered sex ed appear to be connected to the abortion industry. No surprise. And there's from PP. In February, the American Journal of Public Health published an article titled Pleasure in Sex Education, the Need for Broadening Both Content and Measurement. Gross. By Leslie Cantor, chair of Rutgers Urban Global Public Health Department and former vice president of education for PP, Planned Butcherhood. The authors asserted public health policy regarding sex ed should include content related to sexual pleasure. Young people expressed frustration about the lack of information on sexuality and sexual behavior that is included in sex education programs. Sexual and gender minority youths in particular feel overlooked by current approaches, they write. Gross. Really? Come on. Lamenting that most sex ed curriculum are focused on avoiding pregnancy and sexual transmitted diseases. Cantor and Lindbergh praised the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, guidance that suggests numerous learning objectives related to the topic of friendship, love, and romantic relationships for children ages 5 to 18 years. So the UN again, the United Nations. Do you know anybody who actually likes the United Nations? Anybody have friends who stand up to the United Nations or try to defend the United Nations? Has anybody ever met anybody who likes the United Nations? I don't know. This is from that group. Let's see what this is. Oh. That's all. Dumb GIF. Okay, we get it. It's always, and I've talked about this for years, even through a lot of the videos, but ultimately, isn't it that they just want to put their paws on them kids? They want to destroy purity, and innocence. Chinese President Xi Jinping tells military to prepare for war, boosts defense budget. This is really just a headline, but it's one of those trends we've been watching here on the show for the last couple months. That trend in the news of war, specifically with China. And there's a few stories about that tonight. So we'll see where that leads. All-out combat feared as India and China engage in border standoff. On May 5th, a scuffle broke out between Indian and Chinese troops at the Pangong Tso Lake, located 14,000 feet above the sea level in the Himalayan region. A video shot by an Indian soldier and shared on social media showed soldiers from both nations engaged in fistfights and stone pelting at the de facto border known as Line of Actual Control. The incident, which continued until the next day, resulted in 11 soldiers being injured on both sides. 3 days later, at nearly 1,200 kilometers away to the east, along the LAC, another fight erupted at Nathu La Pass in the Indian state of Sikkim after Indian soldiers stopped a patrol party from China's People's Liberation Army. Both countries downplayed the incidents, and the issues were resolved at the local commander level, and it's generally been done in the past. But in the weeks since then, the India-China border has seen soldiers from both sides camping along several disputed areas, with each side accusing the other of trespassing. China is committed to safeguarding the security of its national territorial sovereignty, as well as safeguarding peace and stability in the China-India border areas, the Chinese of Foreign Affairs Ministry. The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson said, China. Oh, communists. On Thursday, India's foreign ministry said in its talks with China to deal with the standoff as New Delhi sidestepped U.S. President Trump's offer to mediate on the matter. On Wednesday, Trump on Twitter said he was ready to arbitrate their raging border dispute. There is no immediate comment from India's Ministry of External Affairs, but last week it accused the Chinese troops of hindering regular Indian patrols along the LAC. All Indian activities are entirely on the Indian side of the LAC. In fact, it's the Chinese side that has recently undertaken activity hindering India's normal patrolling patterns, they say. I'm not going to read the rest. We see where this is heading, though, right? Possibly. So we'll keep an eye on that. All it takes is a flame, a match, to set it all off. Okay, I'm gonna show you some of this, but here's one I wanted to talk about with you too. Last week, I had like a handful of comments. People were saying that, thinking I'm a racist or I was being racist or something for showing you that story about the young black man who was beating people up in the old folks' home. And he said something. It was like a racial. I think he said that black people should rule the world or something like that. And then a lot of people got mad. Oh, KJ's a racist. No, man. We talk about this stuff all the time. This is the setup, and you're going to see more of that tonight, especially with something that recently happened. And we'll cover that here in a little bit as well. But I was making videos about the coming quote race war back in 2014. And many of us have seen this coming, and we see them putting all this in place. And I'll talk more about it when we get to some of those events. Yes, the cop that obviously killed that guy on camera, which was unbelievable, right? So we'll get more into that. But to get into that subject and some of this footage, people just need to chill out and calm down, man. I don't go through each week when I'm collecting ideas and stories it's what I do, As I'm doing that, I'm not sitting here, the white people will like this one, and no, the black people will like that one. I can't do that because I've shown y'all plenty of stories where white people are being racist towards black people. How about all these white Karens we've seen over the last year? And it's always a white Karen, middle-aged Karen, calling in innocent black people having a barbecue at a park, or a black man trying to enter his apartment complex. Remember that one? So it's back and forth. So please don't try to get me on that racial tip stuff. It's unbelievable. Some people get like that. Anyway, check this out, though. This isn't good either. Now, here's the deal. This whole thing's been being built up for so long. A lot of predictive programming, a lot of programming in general in movies and TV shows, a lot of things about division, right? It's always about dividing us. They can just divide us. It's tribal. It's being tribal. You set up the different tribes, and then they turn against each other for ultimate power. So, and that's why it's so important, for us all to be bound through Christ, if you will. And I don't mean that in a church way or in a religious way, but I mean, if you follow Christ and love the Lord, the Holy Spirit, read the Word, learn about all this, find out what God wants for us or what wants for you individually, but you'll realize that it's about love, right? Compassion and caring and understanding and talking instead of raising fists. So it's going to take Christ. Now, that's going to be inverted, I believe, soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but when the Antichrist arrives, it'll be the inversion of that. He'll come as the answer for all these ills, right? And a lot of people are going to fall for it. Anyway, unfortunately, a lot of people are falling for it either way. White people, black people, brown people, doesn't matter. Some people are really super racist and really hate the other race, and that happens on both sides, and that's very unfortunate. I also think these are just signs of a lost people, people who don't have Christ or have little. But then I say that, there's a lot of people who claim to be Christians. Maybe they just go to church, claim to be, followers of Christ or whatever, but you never see it in their actions. You never see it in their lives. They'll say it, but then they'll be wicked, obviously. I'm rambling, I know. Anyway, lot to show you in regards to this division, all right? And let's try to keep it in context, because it is bad on both sides, and there's a little bit of that tonight for everybody. So here you go. Shoot the white folks. It's just insane, though, out there, isn't it? Look at that. Look at this. The devil loves it. He's loving it. He plays with himself when he sees stuff like this, I bet. It's sad. Full White House draft executive order on big tech. Functional equivalent of public forum establishes watch lists for Attorney General. There's some more stories on this tonight as well. Big news. We'll see what happens. You may have heard about this, about what Twitter did with Trump. They've been playing games with him, and hopefully we'll see something come of this, okay? We'll see. Hopefully we'll see something come of this. This order explicitly calls out big tech companies for openly working with the Chinese Communist Party and its military. The order is pursuing the long-addressed Section 230 argument protecting big tech firms. The order also calls large social media platforms, quote, the functional equivalent of a traditional public forum, unquote, and states these firms should not infringe on protected speech. We'll see what happens. Here's the whole draft they put up. We will see what happens. Some people are just negative Nelsons all the time, and they don't want to think that anything's going to come out of this. And I see that. There's a side of me that sees nothing but the chaos and the bad stuff to come. But then there's a hopeful side of me where it's like you can't just function in that reality that it's all doom and gloom and there's no hope whatsoever. Even though there's hope in Christ, we know what I'm saying. There'll be no hope in this world for some people for anything. Well, you might as well, you're done, and that's probably why there's a rise in suicide rates and things like that as well. It's a lot of people just get too addicted to the doom of it all, and they forget to find, the light, that there's good things. Each day in life, we can find something good. The prayer, when you don't know what to pray, keep an attitude of gratitude. Just tell God all the things you're grateful for. All the things, even the things that we take for granted. It helps, at least it helps me. But this one right here is just, you want to honk, 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 honk. Yeah, it really is clown world. Hot nurse gets support after suspension for exposing bra and panties. I'm not going to sit there and linger on the picture. I'll scroll by here, but you get the idea. And this chick right here, Russian doctors and a politician have reportedly come to the defense of a nurse who was suspended from her hospital job for wearing her underwear under personal protective equipment. But of course, wanted to get those views, wanted to get attention, right? This has nothing to do with C19, CV, sick patients, nothing. This is all about her wanting clicks and views. I saw a clip the other day, and I don't know if I included it tonight, but it was somebody that was in a hospital, and they started clearing people out of one of the halls. There's a lot of people in this hospital. Started clearing people out of the hall. No one knew what the heck was going on. Everyone had to stand by for a second, and they wanted everyone cleared out so they could do a TikTok video where there's like 20 people in scrubs in this hall dancing and, swinging brooms around, and all that. But it's not about CV. It's not about sick patients. It's about them clicks. It's about that attention. It's that Jezebel spirit as well, isn't it? It's the way I see it. It's like it has nothing to do with any of this. It's just all about me and being popular and getting clicks and being seen, This was cool news, I thought, and no major news sources that I saw, at least, media on television or on YouTube or whatever. I didn't see anybody really cover this. Good news for some of you out there. I don't know if you guys knew, about 6-7 years ago, I was diagnosed at the time as a borderline type 2 diabetic. Not fun. I'm better now. I still have to watch it though. I still think I'm like type 2. I do good now, but I had to make major life changes. And I admit at that time when that happened, it was within a year after being a bounty hunter in Texas and moving back to Oklahoma because my dad was sick. And I just wasn't in a good place. I never wanted to come back to Oklahoma anyway. No offense. I just didn't want to live here. I'd left here for a reason many years ago, just to travel and see stuff. So I was kind of bummed about that. I definitely started gaining weight. I was working the worst job I ever had in my life. I've talked about that in some other shows. And it all just came to a head. So yeah. But anyway, Trump slashes cost of insulin for Medicare enrollees to $35 a month. Not big news, not supernatural, not Illuminati, nothing, but just, wanted to throw it out there. Peter Manfredonia, Connecticut murder suspect, taken into police custody in Maryland after multi-state hunt. See what they say about this case. I don't know. This one was interesting to me just because there was so much conflicting information in the beginning of this. And the guy's like an axe murderer or something. It was a really crazy crime.
Connecticut has been captured here in Maryland. Multi-state manhunt over. A UConn student wanted for 2 murders in Connecticut has been captured here in Maryland. Police say he was arrested in Hagerstown. WJC is live. Kelsey Kushner with the very latest for us. Kelsey.
The Hagerstown police say tonight that the 23-year-old was arrested in Hagerstown at a pilot truck stop at Halfway Boulevard after 6 days on the run. A multi-state search for UConn senior 23-year-old Peter Manfredonia came to an end right here in Hagerstown, Maryland.
It's insane.
Manfredonia was wanted for 2 murders in Connecticut, and Wednesday night, Hagerstown police say he was taken into custody. It comes after Pennsylvania police released these surveillance videos of the 23-year-old, last spotted at a Sheetz in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, with a black bag and red sneakers. Police believe he stole a vehicle to get there, which has been recovered. Authorities say he then hailed an Uber, which drove him nearly 25 miles to Hagerstown. Manfredonia is accused of killing 62-year-old Theodore Demers with a machete in Willington, Connecticut on Friday. Police say he then drove to Derby, Connecticut and murdered 23-year-old Nicholas Isley, then kidnapped Isley's girlfriend, who was later found safe at a New Jersey rest stop. His family attorney says Manfredonia has struggled with mental health issues and showed his support.
I'm here to aid in your defense, to help you through this difficult process.
And police say that he was taken into custody without any injuries to himself or officers. Reporting live tonight, Kelsey Kushner for WJC.
Well, that didn't give the grisly details, but the first few stories I read about this young man, something to do with him being an axe murderer. Let me see if it says anything down here, like he'd killed somebody with an axe and just like went totally bonkers. Anyway,
We're seeing a slight rise in the number
just move on. I was hoping they'd talk about some of that. Rapper Doja Cat canceled after her controversial single "Didn't Do Nothing" goes viral. Already off the top, again, more of this division stuff and this racial stuff, and this "Didn't Do Nothing" is an old school racial. It's an insult. It's an insult, and it's usually targeted towards black people. Like, I didn't do nothing. Why are you over here doing this? I didn't do nothing. Anyway, the Say So artist was also accused of jokingly using the hard R N-word while participating in Red Pill chat room. Okay. Doja Cat, whose real name is, wow, do you know how to say that? Recently rode to global fame on her 2020 single Say So featuring Nicki Minaj, which hit #1 on the US whatever. However, prior to her stardom, D-U-M-B, prior to her stardom, it was revealed she made sexual remarks towards white men in a right-wing Red Pill Tiny Chat video chat room where Doja Cat, who is half black, is also accused of laughing at racist jokes and using the hard R N-word. I don't need to know more about this broad. But there you go. Just more of that, at this time, more of this racial crap. This guy here, let me see. Here it is. It's the only reason I want to bring this one up. Guardians of the Galaxy star tells Trump supporters to Google penile dysmorphic disorder. It's not even about that, but it's just the way these tools are used. And here's the guy. His name's Dave Bautista. But I wanted to show you something. And it's interesting, too, because he shares something in common with Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks' son. It's something I'd noticed. He's got all these tattoos, 32 tattoos. And the 32 might come into play, possibly Masonic meaning, 32nd degree, because I'll show you why. But he's got all these tattoos, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. He's got sun symbolism, he's got the pentagrams and all that stuff. You see here though on his chest, he's got nothing. And like Chet Hanks, Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks' son, has the pyramid, the Illuminati pyramid on his chest with the illumination. Had WHO above the World Health Organization. The caduceus, the medical symbol, and then the little black spiky viruses, right? So anyway, so he had that message on his chest, Chet Hanks. You see one of his pentagrams right there, this guy. And then here's all the others, just a bunch of other stuff. More sun symbols, sun symbol. Oh, there it is. His Illuminati tattoo. After looking through all these pictures, this is the last one, it seems, he got, the most recent. And it was the same thing with Chet Hanks. You could look through his old pictures to see his tattoos. I did that to see where the viruses came in and the WHO and all that other stuff. And you find at the very end, it's this Illuminati all-seeing eye. And, this Joker here's got it the same spot Chet does. And in that context, with especially celebrities, I look at the same way I do with movies or TV shows that are filled with those symbols, or even pharmaceutical companies, whatever it is, it's all telling us the same thing. And I look at it all as poison, poison, beast system. There's an agenda here. This is not your friend. This is a part of the hive mind. Police, Tennessee church shooter wanted to kill whites at his church. See, there's more of this stuff now. This is just from May 26th. Emmanuel Kedega Sampson, 27, is facing life without parole in a 43-count indictment, including a first-degree murder charge for the September 2017 mass shooting that claimed the life of a 38-year-old churchgoer in Tennessee who was shot dead at the parking lot. But and this story is from May 26th, 2020. They're talking about it again. But, of course, this kind of stuff's going to start coming up in this environment. See, the way things are here. But Sampson's facing a first-degree murder charge for the death of Melanie Crow. It's reported that Sampson also worshipped at Burnett Chapel Church of Christ before opening fire in a bloody rampage at his fellow congregation. The church was described by the prosecutor as being a multicultural and multi-generational place of worship. My parents' church is like that. His attorney, Jennifer Lynn Thompson, made the case that Sampson, reportedly suffering from serious mental health issues, had allegedly tried to commit suicide after sending a note to his girlfriend on a goodbye video to his cousin. On Monday, Thompson said what this case is about is a man who was very sad, very suicidal, and was looking to die that day. All right, we get it, but it's just the timing, Citizen journalist busts Democrat mail-in voting nursing home scandal in Texas. Just the headline. I'm not going to read the whole story, but that's just because that's another big story in the news right now. It even goes back to Trump again. He's against this mail-in voting thing. And of course, everybody wearing a mask wants it, it seems. They all want the mail-in thing because it's the easiest thing. It's the easiest way to cheat. And that's where a lot of people will scratch their heads and look at some of these like really insane people on the far left in American politics and be like, how do they keep getting elected? Do people, as American nuts? I mean, who likes these people? Even liberals I've known throughout the years can't stand some of these people. What's the deal? What's going on here? Here's one of your answers. There's been massive voter fraud forever. And this mail-in voting is definitely a big part of the problem. So we'll see what happens with that. Here's another thing that we have to be really careful of. Okay, so that's not a fun picture to look at. I'm going to bring it back up in a second. You're watching a man the end of his life, right? And look at this guy. I mean, you hate him. Look at the guy. He's got his knee on that man's neck as that man's dying. He's got his freaking hand in his pocket. I mean, just the worst. The worst. Disgusting. But then what's happening is here on the right, and this was posted by Ice Cube, the rapper Ice Cube from NWA, A Wolf in Wolf's Clothing, The Demons Are Among Us. And he put this picture up of this guy next to this guy. Well, it turns out the guy on the right is not the same as the guy on the left. I'll show you another case of this later on too. These are two totally different people. The guy on the right is a liberal comedian that runs around wearing hats like that, make whites great again, and trying to piss people off. And I don't know if they say who he is down here. If they did call him out, he probably blocked it. But anyway, y'all can look that up if you want. But these are two different people, and now you see all these people just getting more fired up. That's fanning more of those flames, right? And of course, they got to do this. Put it next to the guy wearing the mock "Make America Great Again," right? So, just fanning those flames, man. The devil's devices, right? We're looking at the devil's deeds. Just fanning those flames, loving it. More violence it wants, or he wants. More violence, more hate, more destruction. Minneapolis rioters protest police racism by vandalizing and looting Target stores. And that's just not good anyway right? I mean, the community in general. And you'll find videos of people from these communities yelling at these people and saying, quit it, stop doing this. I've probably got one up here tonight somewhere. But asking them to stop. Because they know it's not, this isn't what it's about. Maybe one of those will be down here, those videos. Anyway, this is what's happening at a Target store in Minneapolis. Some of the footage. There's no police, at all. No police, and people are just helping themselves, right? I'm most upset that nobody's social distancing. Womp, womp, womp. See what else here. Here's another one. Just to be fair, you see the white people walking around. There's some white people there too, folks. Right? Calm down. White people and black people are stealing. There you go. That's certainly not helping anything. This is just lawlessness. When I see these videos and things like this is when I see wickedness running amok. Just pure lawlessness. Feet racing to wickedness, Loving it. Loving the hate. Loving the wickedness. Loving it. People just love it. Loving that wickedness. Speaking of wickedness, wait till you get a load of this one. Video, girl melts down on TikTok after seeing pro-life sign. I hope none of y'all use TikTok. That was designed by the Chinese government. Did you know that? Not a conspiracy theory. Look that up. TikTok was created by the Chinese government. I wouldn't be putting any personal information on something like that if I were you. Okay, check this out. Somebody asks, who's raising these kids?
Fuck off!
Oh, by the way, some language. Be ready.
Pro-life! I fucking hate you! Why can't women have abortion? I just saw a fucking pro-life sign driving down the fucking road having a mental breakdown. And I just say, oh, you people are you're so fucking stupid! Oh! This sign says, I can feel pain before I was born. It's a baby! Bitch, I was born and I can feel pain. I wish I wasn't fucking born. Stop bringing these fucking kids into horrible fucking homes just because you're pro-birth. You're fucking stupid. And I wish I had been fucking aborted. Oh my God.
You're a future president right there. It's your future. This is our future.
I fucking hate you.
No, there's good people too.
Why can't women have abortion?
We're going to need them to shut these people up.
Fucking pro-life sign driving down the fucking road having a mental breakdown. And I
All right, I can't take much more of that. I think we get it. We got the point, Toots. We understand. All right. Anyway, yeah, don't play with TikTok. Be careful with that. I wouldn't be putting information on there. Oh boy, YouTube back at it again. YouTube automatically censoring criticism of online Chinese communist propaganda. Talked about that last week. This story is from May 27th. They're still doing it, it seems. Palmer Luckey, the founder of groundbreaking tech company Oculus, which is an all-seeing eye symbol, by the way, has claimed that YouTube is automatically deleting comments critical of the Chinese Communist Party's online propaganda division. Well, good for them, even if you do have that symbolism. Let's tell the truth. It says YouTube has deleted every comment I ever made about the Wumao, an internet propaganda division of the Chinese Communist Party, who at Google decided to censor American comments on American videos hosted in America by an American platform that is already banned in China, he asks. Remember last week they were banning, what is it, Communist Bandit or something like that? I think it was Communist Bandit. Well, now they're continuing and getting worse. All right, YouTube. And great question he has. Again, who at Google decided to censor American comments on American videos hosted in America by an American platform that is already banned in China? Let that sink in. Luckey went on to note that the new YouTube policy was automatic and affected anyone who dared even mention the WUMAO network. Now I'm scared to say it. This appears to be a new global policy on YouTube, not directed at me specifically, he continued. Try saying anything negative about that symbol or even mentioning them at all. Your comment will last about 30 seconds and get deleted without warning or notice. CCP censor style. To what end? Hey, y'all should try that. I wonder if you can really do that. So what does he say? Try saying anything negative about maybe you can go to this and you can copy and paste that comment he put in Chinese. This is on a national file. It's YouTube automatically censoring criticism of online Chinese communist propaganda. Just from 2 days ago. So you should be able to find it. Come on down, about 4 paragraphs, and maybe you can copy and paste this thing. I don't know if that's the word. I don't know. Maybe experiment and see. It'd be interesting if you put the right comment that's negative or whatever to the Communist Party or the Communist Bandits or whatever. That'd be crazy. You can see it disappear within 30 seconds. Like refresh the page a minute later and see it gone or something. Anyway, man, we'll see where this goes, huh? We will see where this goes. But, man, we're there, man. Think about that, guys. I mean, I think all the way back. I think back to even before the heyday of so-called conspiracy theory videos on YouTube, because there was a real big time there, remember, for a few years. But even back to 2012, 2013-ish, when I was just really getting started, I never, ever would have seen this kind of thing coming at that time. I think that might have been before Google bought YouTube as well. So I just don't think I would have seen this coming back then. A lot of us could probably say that, but look where we're at now, man. We can't just be pointing finger at China all the time because it's here now. Like we got to, it's here. It's happening on YouTube. It's happening other places. Even with the masks, people being little monsters with each other about the masks and tattling on each other for not social distancing. And that mindset is here. And I don't think we should just call it, it's communism, it's Marxism. No, it's the Antichrist spirit. It's going to take all those elements coming together to get that final control, to gain that final control over everything. So yeah, it was the communists. Yeah, it was the Luciferians. It was the Freemasons. It was the Jesuits. Certain JEWS who really aren't, that are in Israel right now. A lot of different groups working together to do this. So this is just one of the arms, I guess, of that beast. This is one of the tentacles of that beast. China drafts sovereign immunity bill to fight global crown virus lawsuits. Interesting, huh? Yeah, they're going to start getting targeted, of course, and they see it. So now they're actually drafting sovereign immunity bill to fight all the lawsuits. We'll read a little bit. Lawyers around the world in states as far from each other as Italy, Nigeria, Turkey, and India have brought lawsuits against the CCP in the state of China for silencing doctors early on in the pandemic who had identified a contagious respiratory disease. The lawsuits also accused China of pressuring foreign states not to impose travel restrictions on Chinese nationals and of pressuring global agencies like the World Health Organization to downplay the severity of the outbreak. In the United States, the states of Missouri and Mississippi have sued the CCP as well for the damage caused by the crown virus. Lawyers have brought lawsuits against China in states like Texas, New York, and Florida. Wow, there'll be another one to see where that goes, huh? We'll keep an eye on this one as well. How cool would it be to see President Xi Jinping, whatever his name is, on Judge Judy? You know, I'd like to see some of these people face Judge Judy and see how well they do. Brothels in Switzerland draft roadmap out of lockdown, complete with sex positions that, you gotta love it, minimize the C-19 transmission. Unbelievable. Are there people who still frequent these places even during all this stuff? Is that a thing? I'm sure it is. It has to be, obviously. That's the oldest business in the world, right? Brothels in Switzerland, draft roadmap. Switzerland, come on, guys. I know we have some Swedish friends, too, that listen because they've commented before. So, hey, how you guys doing? And a lot of them are apologetic sometimes about some of the crazy things there. That being said, there's also a lot of amazing things about Switzerland. We can't forget that. It really is a really cool country in a lot of ways, even though the politics are kind of whack and all this, you know, and it can be a little bit extreme to the left on some things. It's also beautiful, and the people seem cool. And, you know, what can I say, you know? Let's take a look here, though. Swiss prostitutes determined to return to work after the CV lockdown have drawn up a reopening plan to maximize social distancing with recommended sex positions while calling for strict time limits and endless cleaning. Sex Workers Association Procori released an exhaustive list of hygienic guidelines earlier this month, hoping to secure the Swiss government's blessing for brothels to reopen when the next round of lockdown measures are rolled back on June 8th. While sex work would seem to be incompatible with social distancing, this company did its best to find a workaround, advising the use of positions that keep the client and prostitute's faces as far apart as possible. All right, we get it. Madness, though, isn't it? Madness. Gotta love this one here. Twitter fact checker claimed Trump admin are actual Nazis, mocked flyover states. But this is one of their fact checkers. Again, this is more of that honk, 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 honk. It's really more sinister, though, than Clown World. I mean, it is Clown World, but it's just that grip, right? That what are we seeing happening in all these cases? It's a loss of truth. Truth is what's suffering. It's like we just keep getting bathed in more lies, more deception. The Twitter official responsible for the platform's fact-checking policy has tweeted that members of the Trump administration are Nazis, among other false and inflammatory statements. This is the guy that's the fact-checker, Yoel Roth. Oh, hi, Yoel. I wonder where you're from. Whose official job title is head of site integrity. Yes, a lot of those types of those people that really aren't those people are in control of a lot of things. Does that make sense? I'll put that on a t-shirt. Yoel Roth, whose official job title is head of site integrity, explained the platform's new policy in a May 11th blog post on misleading information on CV. In serving the public conversation, our goal is to make it easy to find credible information on Twitter and to limit the spread of potentially harmful and misleading content. Twitter appears to have applied that policy to a broader category of assertions, moving beyond C-19 to President Donald Trump's claim on Tuesday that vote by mail would lead to more voter fraud, which is true, a prediction with which even some Democrats have agreed. Subsequently, Twitter slapped a "Get the Facts" label on Trump's tweets about voter fraud and provided links to CNN and the Washington Post, two avowedly anti-Trump outlets that enthusiastically pushed the Russia collusion hoax. Critics on Twitter, ironically, pointed out that Roth's own tweets include exactly the kind of misleading and abusive content that Twitter's policy purports to limit. And here's Yola Roth. Every time a cute boy uses an Android phone, I die inside, is the new every time a cute boy tells me he's a Republican, I die inside. Gross. He also says, I'm just saying, we fly over those states that voted for a racist tangerine for a reason. See, this elitist attitude, man. I knew people like that. I lived in LA. I even lived in New York City for a while. And I'm from the Midwest. I'm about as flyover state as you can get. Today on Meet the Press, we're speaking with Joseph Goebbels about the first 100 days. What I hear when Kellyanne is on a news show. There's more of this anti-whatever Trump stuff, right? Yes, that person in the pink hat is clearly a bigger threat to your brand of feminism than actual Nazis in the White House. So we get it. We got more honk, but just more lies. And these people just don't care. They just don't care. When I see people like that, it's me, they're just totally regardless of their politics, race, or whatever. Someone like that who's so sold out to deception, they're just taken over to me. You know, it's like I just feel like they're taken over. It's just fully, you have been assimilated. You know, it is a part of that hive mind now. Not that they can't be saved out of it, but it's going to take some work, you know. Cartoon Network teaches kids about intersex, non-binary gender identities. What could go wrong? Cartoon Network. The Cartoon Network show is teaching kids about intersex, non-binary gender identities. A clip from Steven Universe show made in partnership with the Dove Self-Esteem Project was uploaded to Twitter, in which one of the characters says, "Let's talk about social media. This is my page." The profile page belonging to the character reads, intersex, non-binary, they, them. Oh, gosh. It's like 1984, too, and the destruction of language, the inversion of words, right? Theater of war is one that always comes to mind. They used to say in the Gulf War, theater of war. Oh, goodness. But anyway, look at this. Some people can't even talk, seems like, anymore, really. That's how crazy I feel like it's gotten. Some people can only, tweet emojis. You know, it's like the best way to communicate, it seems like, for some people in this world. Anyway, check this out.
Let's talk about social media.
Okay.
This is on Cartoon Network. Hold on.
Social media can be about more than how you look.
Yeah, it can be. What the hell?
Intersex Awareness Day. This guy is cracking up. I guess you kind of have to. If you don't laugh, you might go crazy or cry with some of this madness. Here, look just a little bit more. I like hearing him laugh.
This is on Cartoon Network. Hold on.
Social media can be about more than how you look.
The one eye symbol.
What the hell? Of course it's Steven Universe. Of course it's the Steven Universe.
Wow. I guess this is it.
Hey, I'm Stefan. Let's talk about social media. This is my page. I love posing for selfies. But social media can be about more
The one eye, I mean, that's all I can say. Well, let's keep looking. We'll see. Maybe let's see something else.
But social media can be
Purple.
about more than how you look. It can be about who you are. Your skills. Focus. Your adventures. You'll never believe what I also follow lots of different people and accounts. I like to get inspired. and catch up with friends. Hold up. This isn't right. The truth is, I made my page just for this. I'm not on social media. You know why? It's overwhelming. There are tons of people worried about how they look on here, and it's like, who cares? Besides, I don't need followers or likes to feel good about myself. I know I'm amazing.
Good luck today, Stefani. Good luck at the shoot. You're a natural. Gonna be great. Woo!
There is some positivity on here.
One eye and a pentagram, maybe.
Maybe I'll use it carefully.
Funny. Good luck at the shoot. You're a natural. Gonna be great. Woo!
There is some.
Anyway, gross. Gross. Pretty much sums it up. All right. Let's see what this one is. Visa applies. Oh yeah, this is more of that digital currency. I didn't catch as many stories this week on it, but you know how that goes. Just whatever's kind of, we see the trends come and go, right? But this one's not going away for sure when it comes to the financial. Last week we had some stories about where they're trying to make money seem filthy. Like, ooh, in the post-CV world, can we really trust cash? I think it's one of the headlines, but Visa applies for digital dollar blockchain patent. Not really going to read the article, just another one of those trends we're watching. A lot of these companies are moving more towards the digital dollar, right? And obviously we see the implications of that possibly being connected to a microchip type system, ultimately. So right here's a website that I have been going to for probably a decade, probably as long as I've been on YouTube. I found this a long time ago. He's been around for a long time. Vigilant Citizen. Really good articles on the occult in the world around us, and Illuminati symbols, satanic symbols, beast system in general. He's really been on it for a long time, man. Most of you have been around for a long time. I already know about him, probably gone to his site. As far as who he is, throughout the years, I've seen some things and, whatever. I'm not as concerned about really who he is, just in case some of that stuff's real. I don't know. It's hard to say, man. People used to make up stuff about me, so it's hard to say. I've seen different things, though. Some things not so nice about him, but even with that, I try not to focus on that kind of thing because he's always had really good articles, things I'm interested in, things a lot of you will be interested in, and he's really good at picking up on a lot of the symbols and things like that. I mean, worst case scenario, you could say, to me, worst case, maybe he's part of the revelation of the method, of the externalization of the hierarchy. He really is one of them, and he's been doing this just to help externalize. But I don't think so. You look at the fruits of people's labor, and he's obviously, I think, against all this stuff. And you got to look at the fruit, that people have produced, as opposed to the words going around about people. Anyway, I'm rambling. But he had some good ones here, some good symbolic picks of the month. And they're always the one eye, usually, or not always the one eye. It's always some kind of Illuminati or beast system type symbolism these celebrities are doing. And that's Lady Gaga. When I first saw it, it reminded me of like the insect, or possibly like the the creatures from the pit, the locusts. And she's so in tune with all that stuff. I mean, I've covered her for years. She knows what we know, and I'm sure a lot more that's soon to be revealed, but she's part of that hive mind for sure. I showed you guys this one in one of my videos. Madonna made her Instagram post announcing joining forces with the Gates Foundation, and when she did, she was wearing that t-shirt with a picture of Lucifer on the cross, or Satan on the cross. So that's another one of those I always say, but that's the last big secret, the last big revelation is that all these people are truly Luciferian. They're Satanists, and they have been preparing a way for the Antichrist. It's the last big secret, isn't it? But I feel a lot of that has been coming out. I've been showing you guys that myself for many years. This was kind of weird. This was Madonna's picture on Easter. It says Madonna posted a video with her adopted children wearing bunny ears. And we know the bunny ears with a connection back to the monarch mind control, or beta sex kitten mind control. She was wearing her Madam X eye patch that turns her into a walking one-eye sign while she's wearing that patch at home. Or it says, sorry, why is she wearing that patch at home with her children? Good question. That's all for the camera. Also, just, I'm sure, for the mockery of the day, you know, Easter, Ishtar. She knows about all that, sure. And this is in another Instagram post. Madonna's 25-year boyfriend also wears the patch. Madonna's caption, I you, more like I own you. And of course, she's got the black and the white, right? The stripes. Here he is again, making a big one-eye symbol in the sand, I guess, for her. But they know. You know, they know. There's Billie Eilish. No surprise there. There's one for, look at this. This image used by a South African news site to promote its CV coverage. Big old one eye right there, symbol. Here's an actor I've never heard of named Darren Barnett. But whenever I start seeing young men or women doing this, I always look out because, you know, to me, you're going to see a lot more of them. And you do. You know, they'll land a big TV show, or, you know, a few years, suddenly they're a movie star, you know, or whatever. But a lot of times, it doesn't always work that way, but a lot of times it does. And because they did the deed, they signed the deal, you know, whatever it is they do now, maybe a bit of it all, but they've sold out to it. You know, they're a part of it. Another classic one too. This is from a Prime Video show called Homecoming. And that's Azalea Banks. And she's an admitted witch. I showed you guys a story a while back, like 26 admitted Hollywood witches or whatever. But yeah, she's a witch. There's even some videos of her talking openly about it. And she always has the Illuminati symbols in her videos. She's a short sequence. One of her videos is in the opening sequence of the scariest movie ever made, 2020. Fun fact. Just throwing it out there. So there's that. There's Home Before Dark, an Apple TV show. Oh, What a World 2.0 Earth Day edition. Of course, Earth Day from Casey Musgraves. Oh, that's a bummer. And the butterflies. That's too bad. You know, I don't listen to country, but just about a year ago, that Casey Musgraves was on TV singing for something. And I'd heard her from another room, and I came in here because I was like, wow, that voice, who is this? I'd never even heard of this person before. I mean, one of the most lovely voices ever. It's amazing. It really is. I haven't, you know, I'm not wearing a T-shirt with Casey Musgraves on, and I don't have her music or anything like that. But, you know, even that night, I looked up a couple songs and just like, wow. And again, it's just an amazing voice. It really stands out. But this is what that system does too, isn't it? It finds some of the most talented, the most innocent, the most pure, perhaps, and then it twists them and changes them and perverts them into their system. And it takes, you know, the public along with them, like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, you know, all the ones, all of them, Rihanna. They all start off as the good girl, and then it goes bad after a couple albums, right? But that's a bummer. Casey Musgraves, huh? Says it's the elite's favorite country singer. I didn't know that. The cover of her latest single features monarch programming symbolism such as the all-seeing eye, one-eyed feline, and a monarch butterfly. Yep. Wow. Oh, wow. In this bizarre music video, Musgraves is covered in all-seeing eyes, spirally lollipops, and diamonds, all symbols that bear a deep meaning in MK symbolism. Man, we see the same pattern. I need to do a video and compare it and just show this is what they do to all of them. I know I've kind of done that in some other videos through the years, but you see that. I've seen that. Again, go back to Britney, go back to Rihanna, go back to any one of them. And it's like they start off sweet and innocent, first album, maybe two, and then early videos, you'll see them with a bird cage on their head, you know, or in a bird cage, or, you know, this stuff, right? I mean, a lot of this always, the symbolism always goes back to what we know of monarch mind control programming and all the different variances thereof. You know, alpha programming, you know, assassins, and beta programming, sex kittens, but So it's interesting. We see them. We're like they're showing us right before our eyes what's happening, perhaps behind the scenes with these people. Start them innocent, then they start going through their own kind of mind control, and then they come out of it. Next thing you know, she's wearing a, maybe next year or 2 years, as a video comes out, she's wearing all black leather, skin tight suit, fire and flames all around, all around her. And some handsome guy dancing with her wearing horns, or you never know with this, but it seems to kind of be a part of that trajectory and kind of that pattern, doesn't it? I don't know what that is. Drake's Mansion, it says. This is the entrance to Drake's Mansion. There are two weird Mickey Mouse-like statues that look dead with their innards showing. In other words, visitors are welcomed with one-eye occult elite creepiness. That is kind of gross. Kind of weird. I don't know. Oh, that's the pedo symbol, unfortunately. Man, now I remember. I forgot to show you guys, but on Dave Bautista, you can go look this up if you're interested. Look up his 32 tattoos. There's a story out there on it. One of the tattoos, it's on his left forearm. Yeah, it's on his left forearm, just above his hand. And to me, it looks a lot like one of those symbols. I meant to point that out to you guys. Totally forgot. So if you want to look that up, see what you think. But it definitely looks like kind of like one of those. See, here's what's on her shirt, her jacket. Young lady. Machino, which is a fashion company, right? And then it's the logos. Look at that. Weird posters appeared in Romania depicting doctors and nurses as Jesus and Mary. In this picture, the sign of blessing was replaced with the holding of a stethoscope. So sick. The halo, which represents holiness, was replaced with the coronavirus. That doesn't even make sense. Isn't the doctor fighting that virus? Why is he basking in its glory? And what about not bastardizing Christianity to push coronavirus hysteria? Unsurprisingly enough, the Roman Orthodox Church stated that the posters were blasphemous and an insult to Christian iconography. Check this out. Crazy, man. So wrong. All right, there's those. And that's Vigilant Citizen. It's again a website I like. I've frequented for probably close to 10 years that I can remember. And really good stuff, in my opinion. Let's see. This was sent to me on email, and I'll just show you a couple of these pictures. But one of my subscribers took these screen captures from the interview that Zuckerberg did with his wife recently, and this lady right here. And she pointed out some cool anomalies. Here's one right here. See that? The eye. And then this lady's face really warped, and she captured something really crazy at the bottom here with her. She's pointing out some kind of odd anomalies here, but here's the very best, I thought. Look at that. This is the lady that was interviewing Zuckerberg and his wife, and look, it clearly looks like a face right there in her glasses. Where's that coming from? She's supposed to be looking directly, right? She's looking at a camera. You see the screen reflected in her glasses. So where'd that face come from? Not saying, I don't know. Maybe it is something, I believe in both. If maybe it is a capture of just a person over there on the side of the camera, I don't know. Does it work that way? I don't think so. Again, you see her looking at her camera, in front of the monitor, just like regular. The guy, I guess a guy would have to be standing. And why would his face be reflecting? Where's the light coming from for his face? And the whole thing, so just my instinct on this, it feels like, wow, she may have really captured something here. What do you think about that? Crazy, huh? Oh, okay. Now we're going to get into some really, really weird. I guess I'll start over here.
Someone forwarding me.
One of my subscribers sent me this, and this is from the YouTube channel called Lift the Veil. All right, YouTube channel Lift the Veil. And this video is from back in June 2017, June 1st. So, wow, almost 3 years. And unfortunately, it didn't get a lot of views. I thought this was pretty interesting stuff. Let me see if I'll play some and let him explain, okay? Probably the best way. I don't want to take all of the footage here, but I'll just kind of get to the main points, and then I'll show you that there's a YouTube channel that's still up that looks to be perhaps some kind of triggering mechanism for people under mind control. I told you we're going to get into some weird. Here, I'll let him explain a little bit here.
This post that was on 4chan. This is the archived version, which I'll provide a link to in the description, tool to go ahead and decode what's going on here. First, let me show you 5 seconds of this video, and you may be disturbed by it. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Version, which I'll provide a link to in the description. It talks about videos on the internet, on YouTube, hosting MK Ultra content, and that there are mimetic materials and that they cause emotional reactions. I'm going to be playing about 5 seconds from one of those videos so you can see for yourself, or you can look away for yourself, which you may want to do. I'm going to talk about these Twitter accounts. I've decoded one of the videos, and it's all going to link to the Finder's cult. So let's get started. This is what we're talking about. This is one Twitter account which has a lot of coded messages and pictures. Well, one of these tweets, and I'll show you which one, this one right here, was decoded in that thread that you have the link for in the description. And it's a simple replacement swap, letter swap code. So I looked for a tool on the internet that would help me decode it myself, and I found one. It's called QuipQuip. I copied and pasted that into QuipQuip here, and the first result is, who finds what the finders hide? Who finds what the finders hide? I'll show you another Twitter account that's equally creepy called Winchester, which also has coded messages. Some of the messages, for example, this one has directions, exit 22, up road, 176, 1 mile, etc. Although I'm sure there's something else coded into the image. That would be my guess. Who finds what the finders hide? So let me tell you about the Finders cult. The Finders cult. In 1987, the New York Times ran a story about a little-known cult called the Finders. The first paragraph reads, quote, police officials here said today that 6 disheveled children found in Tallahassee, Florida, might be the offspring of members of a little-known cult, but the officials said they had not ruled out the possibility of kidnapping, unquote. Now, these 6 children were found en route to Mexico, Chinese embassy there. Another telex expressed interest in bank secrecy situations. Other documents identified interest in high-tech transfers to the United Kingdom, numerous properties under control of the Finders, a keen interest in terrorism, explosives, and evasion of authorities. There was also a set of instructions which appeared to be broadcast via computer network, which advised participants to move the children and to keep them moving through different jurisdictions, and instructions on how to avoid tool to go ahead and decode what's
Sorry, man. Hold on, guys. Let me go back.
Children's clothing and toys. The clothing documents identified interest in high-tech transfers to the United Kingdom, numerous properties under control of the Finders, a keen interest in terrorism, explosives, and evasion of authorities. There was also a set of instructions which appeared to be broadcast via computer network, which advised participants to move the children and to keep them moving through different jurisdictions, and instructions on how to avoid police attention. I was able to observe numerous documentation of the goat head.
I don't want to read the whole thing with him. Again, it takes a while, but we're just going to jump through a little bit. He's talking about the Finders cult. Then we'll get into the stuff on YouTube he's showing you. But check this part out. This is interesting.
Portrayed the execution of adults and children dressed known as finders.
Okay, here we go.
I also saw a large collection of photographs of unidentified persons. Some of the photographs were nudes believed to be members of finders. There were numerous photos of children, some nude, at least one of which was a child on display and appearing to accent the child's genitals. One of the officers presented me with a photo album for review. The album contained a series of photos of adults and children dressed in white sheets participating in a quote-unquote blood ritual. The ritual centered around the execution of at least 2 goats. The photos portrayed the execution, disembowelment, and dismemberment of the goats at the hands of the children. This included the removal of the testes of the male goat, the discovery of the female goat's womb and the baby goats inside the womb, and the presentation of the goat head to one of the children. The warehouse contained a large library, 2 kitchens, a sauna, hot tub, and a video room. The video room seems to be set up as an indoctrination center. It also appeared that the organization had the capability to produce its own videos. There were what appeared to be training areas for the children and what appeared to be an altar set up in a residential area of the warehouse.
Okay, so we get a roundabout idea of the Founders Cult, and you can look them up too and see what you can find. I wonder, as far as images go, you know, I've seen so much throughout the years as far as the strange and unusual with, you know, pictures and videos. It's just what I do, you know, it's what I look into. There's a series of pictures. I don't know if you can find them on Google anymore. There's other ways you can look, but there's these pictures I remember seeing years ago that were really scary, and they were accessible. They were just online, like on an image search. I was probably looking up satanic cult or something like that, probably looking up images for something like that for whatever reason at the time. And these old black and white photos came up, a bunch of them. And some of them had children in them, but they would be, one of them is a young man, and there's no nudity or anything like that. But it's just, they were dressed old school. They looked older, you know, like, you know, how those old pictures, people in those old pictures have that kind of weird old look, you know, I mean, they may be 5 years old, but they still look like from 1600 or 1700 or 18. They have just a weird, you know, it's like that. You can tell it's an older picture, but there's a picture of a young boy, probably 10, standing in a doorway surrounded by 2 guys wearing those big white kind of hoods. And they're not, you know, triple K either. It reminds me of what he was talking about with the Founders. And there's lots of pictures like that with grown people wearing masks or wearing these hoods around young people and just in strange situations. Maybe y'all could find that if you're ever interested. I always throw those out during these shows and, you know, see what you can find if there's something to it. But I wonder if those were pictures of the Founders Cult. I'm just not sure. Anyway, let's jump ahead here.
So just keep that in mind.
It says, but among all the cryptic inventory, cops found a photo album entitled The Execution of Henrietta and Igor. And he says to keep that in mind. It's important to keep that part in mind. Okay.
Now we're going to look at these videos. First, I'll show you a child's video that was linked to what we're talking about today. And just be careful. I'm going to be showing maybe 5 seconds of these videos. If you have any concern about mind control triggers, about feeling weird watching a video, just turn away when I play the videos, okay? I've gotten through about 5 seconds and been okay. So I'm going to play 5 seconds of this real quick, and then we're going to look at one of the more.
All right. Definitely heed that warning. You know, I never know. I don't know who all's in the audience, and there could be people that have had some of these experiences, maybe not necessarily with this particular cult, but something else, and could get triggered. So you never know. But anyway, so keep that in mind. Here you go.
More disturbing ones. This is called Bad Baby Crying and Learn Color, Colorful Spider-Man Finger Family Simple Song Collection for Kids. And this is a publicly available video, which people have gone to and seen from 4chan and has over 10,000 views at the moment. So I'm just going to play about 5 seconds from it.
Red finger, where are you?
Man, that is scary. So that was 5 seconds of that video. Now I'm going to show you one of the unlisted videos with the codes. This is one of those right here. Here's the title for it, and you can see.
Yeah, wait till you see what he breaks down.
And it has that coded title, and you also have coded description. Now I've used my tool to go ahead and decode what's going on here. First, let me show you 5 seconds of this video, and you may be disturbed by it. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Oh boy, that bothers me. Okay. I'm going to play a little bit more because she's going to start talking about colors.
Red, your trigger is Transformers.
Red, your trigger is Transformers, is what it said. Boy, I have the chills watching these videos. Down here, it shows the tags for the video are MK Ultra, MK Ultra, MK Ultra triggers, MK Ultra mind control programs, and Project Bluebird. It has over 30,000 views. I'm going to show you how the description translates first. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this whole section here and put it into my Quip solver. Red, repress the memories of trauma with drugs. Blue, militaristic training and decimation of the mind. Green, denial of events and atrocities committed against them. Yellow, personas compartmentalized. Pink, core personality entirely destroyed. Red, blue, green, yellow, pink. Red, blue, green, yellow, pink. Now, let me decipher the title of this video that we just watched about 5 seconds of. And remember, we were talking about the Finders cult. The first result this time is the sacrifice of Henrietta and Igor. It's not perfect, you can see that, but the sacrifice of Henrietta and Igor. Why does that sound familiar? From the Finders cult, which we read. Among all the cryptic inventory, cops found a photo album entitled The Execution of Henrietta and Igor.
Ooh, wow. Right? Anyway, I'll end that there. I don't want to, again, play the entire thing just on here, but you can go check it out on his channel if you like, Lift the Veil. And that's MK Ultra YouTube videos decoded, the Finders cult. I'm going to subscribe to him. Okay, now there's this, CoviPass. This is an actual website, the world's most secure digital health passport. Wait, I wasn't done. How do I go back? Anyway, it's a digital health passport, CoviPass. Links and displays. Stop. I want to read. Here, I'll just press more. Founded in 2012, VST Enterprises has been lauded for its development of V-Code, which among other applications has the potential to revolutionize financial transactions both online and offline. V-Code. Saturn symbol. But just more of this technology, you know, that we're finding, all leading to everything being digital, right? Everything leading to some form of a chip, or humans, you know, transhumanism, humans becoming part machine in some way. But I just thought it was interesting also they have the big old Saturn symbol right here as well. It all comes from the same place. Ultimately. Elon Musk and Grimes slightly changed baby's name. Roman numerals look better, they say. Elon Musk and his girlfriend Grimes have made a slight change. Oops. Oh, here, we'll let this guy tell us.
The most influential businessman is taking on the government over its coronavirus lockdown. Elon Musk says on Twitter he has reopened his factory in California in violation of local government orders. Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt has the link.
Oh, it's not the same story. Okay, I get it. I don't want to watch that. Earlier this month, the Tesla CEO, 48, and the singer, 32, left people scratching their heads when they gave their baby that really weird name that no one could pronounce. On Sunday, Grimes was asked by a follower on Instagram if she had considered changing her child's name, given that the moniker reportedly won't be accepted by the state of California. And she wrote back, whatever that is. However, the performer didn't provide further insight concerning the reason behind the change. Oh, she just used Roman numerals. I mean, it's not that much of a change. I don't know. Who gets it with these people? But mainly, I wanted to show you this. That's their baby. I just thought it was weird. Like, the serpent, huh? Savage. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Is it sense of humor? Is it just goofing around? Or oh, he's a character. They both are. She's a witch. That's the other thing. Grimes was also on that list, and it went into detail. And I guess it's in a lot of her videos as well. I don't ever watch the girl's videos, but apparently Grimes is a witch as well, a practicing witch. A lot of that's come out over the last few years. Giselle Bunsen, or whatever her name is, Tom Brady's wife, admitted she's a witch. He's talked about her casting spells. Here's something else that was pretty cool that one of my subscribers sent me. I'd never seen this one before. Have you seen this? Batman existed in Mesoamerican mythology, and his name was Camazotz. Camazotz meaning death bat in Mayan language of Guatemala. Let's see if there's another picture. Whoa, it scared me. Huh. Interesting to see that. But that right here is just, look at that. Camazotz Maya-style Batman suit. Created by Mexican designer Kimball. Oh, I was hoping that'd be like one of the originals we were looking at. Still, I mean, I guess he took it off of the, original image or whatever.
You download the app.
Trying to remember why I was going to oh, yeah, this was weird. Okay, this came out May 12th, 2020. It's this thing, his name is Obvious is the channel. And I think this is something that another one of my subscribers sent. What is a randonaut? Anyway, this YouTube channel, he's got 466 subs. Doesn't have tons. But anyway, you guys, let's see what we make of this. Randonautica. What is this?
It's an app, and it's called Randonautica. You download the app, and what it does is you send your location, and then a quantum random number generator gives you random coordinates for you to go to. But the thing about this, which is super cool, is when you set an intent, you're giving it basically directions where to go. So this app, the way it works is it works with your mind. Your thoughts, the things that you are thinking, your intent that you are setting can create what you're going to see. If you're thinking a certain thing, you might see some kind of symbol or that certain thing that you were thinking, and it is basically a synchronicity. It's more than a coincidence because it has meaning. It's not just a random coincidence, because the more you do this, the more you'll start to see and notice these patterns, these synchronicities, where your thoughts are being manifested using this app. Everything in this.
Okay, now I see why they sent it to me. Yeah, that's bonkers. It's a weird mix of, and he said your intent, and intent is important in symbolism. It's important in witchcraft, Satanism, especially witchcraft and spells. It's your intention. What is your intention behind this? Like symbols in movies and TV shows, it's more the intention behind it that's so evil, It's not so much the symbol itself. It's the intention, right? So this, you put your intention mixed with augmented reality, and he says it creates these synchronicities, and you're giving your location. I don't know, let's continue.
Life is all created from energy. Your thoughts are energy. So whatever you're setting your intent, this quantum computer number generator is picking up on your thoughts, and it gives.
Okay, right there, Courtney. I don't know. I don't want to play this game, but this is fascinating, I think. Let's check this out. The kid's pitching it. I'm sure people are doing this thing, this Randonautica. Let's check it out. Let's see what he says.
You a random location to go to. You go there, you check it out, and you might start to see something very interesting. And many times it'll be taking you to places that might be around your house or around places you normally travel, but they take you to a place that you might have never gone. It might be near where you've traveled before, but a place you've never gone before, because you've had no reason to go there. So how the app is working is basically laying out a map of quantum points, and you'll get a choice between setting an attractor point, a void, or an anomaly. An attractor point is basically where it is the most condensed quantum points are. A void is where there is not that many quantum points. An anomaly is basically choosing a stronger point from the attractor and the void. So that is basically what randonauting is. A randonaut is someone who's basically choosing these random points. And
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not with it. That much I know. Like, I wouldn't want to do this. I don't want to play with, my intention matched with augmented reality and artificial intelligence. And I just don't like that. We already see that's a part of the beast system. And I could see where perhaps things like this, and it's no knock on this young man. I have no idea who this guy is, but obviously he's excited about it. It looks like his next video is first Randonaut adventure. So, he's actually been using it. So I don't know, man. But personally, it's not for me. I feel like that's dangerous territory. We already see a lot of that movement happening in general. Transhumanism, this idea of meshing human with machine. Even Elon Musk, that's one of those big red flags with me on him, is Neuralink, things like that. Chinese netizens claim Americans are eating crown virus dead. Of course. Of course they are. I'm sure it's just tons of bots, or it's really, really poor enslaved people that are being forced to do this. Most likely. Excuse me. Prior to its deletion, however, a page on WeChat, a Chinese social media site, claimed American officials have been processing dead bodies of Chinese crown virus victims into burgers and feeding them to the masses. The South China Morning Post revealed on Tuesday, claiming Beijing had shut down the page. Prior to its deletion, however, the page, the Scholar Forum for Ultimate Truth, had attracted 1.7 million page views, according to the Post. China has built an extensive online censorship apparatus that has successfully shut down a wide variety of factual information detrimental to the regime, or simply commentary by dissidents on the failures of the CCP. Yet when faced with outrageous false information that disparages America or other foreign nations, China's censors suddenly struggle to keep up with the volume of material. The Post noted that one of the most outrageous posts on the Scholar Forum, a pro-communist conspiracy WeChat account, accused Americans of eating those killed by the crown virus. It says the U.S. has been processing dead bodies from C-19 diseases into hamburgers. The page reportedly claimed adding to the bodies were very likely of being processed into frozen meat, fake beef or pork, or processed into cooked meat as hamburgers and hot dogs. The page offered as evidence of this claim the unsubstantiated allegation that cannibalism has existed in the U.S. before, and only a few dozen years ago, Americans ate black people, Indians, and Chinese people. The offending post was published last month and garnered 100,000 readers, as well as nearly 1,000 financial contributors to the page. The Post reported that its content was not unusual for the page, which regularly posted anti-Western, anti-American conspiracy theories and insults. All right, whatever. No, China, we're not doing that. That I know of. They're probably doing it. It's probably projection. For real, though. They're probably doing it, and they're blaming us. This should trouble us all. Auto-snitching, C-19 tracking bracelets flood the market. This is on Zero Hedge. I think it's a real cool site. I've used it a lot throughout the years, but check out zerohedge.com if you're looking for a a different news site that's outside the mainstream. Surveillance firms around the world are licking their lips at a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to cash in on the crown virus by repositioning one of their most invasive products, the tracking bracelet. Body monitors are associated with criminality and guilt in the popular imagination, the accessories of Wall Street crooks under house arrest and menace to society parolees. Unlike smartphones, de facto tracking devices in their own right, strapped-on trackers are expressly designed to be attached to the body and exist solely to report the user's whereabouts and interactions to one or more third parties. They don't play podcasts or tell you how many steps you took that day to sweeten the surveillance. But a climate of perpetual bioanxiety has paved the way for broader acceptance of carceral technologies, with a wave of companies trying to sell tracking accessories to business owners eager to reopen under the aegis, am I saying that right, of responsible social distancing, and to governments hoping to keep a closer eye on people under quarantine. Take Aristaflow, a Maryland-based outfit that helps corporations track their assets, breathing or not. In an April 21st press release, the company announced it would begin selling Bluetooth and Wi-Fi trackers to be worn on an employee's wrist like a Fitbit or around their neck like a cowbell. When people come within 6 feet of each other for a period of time, the company wrote in a press release, the device makes an audible chirp and a record of the contact is made in the Aristaflow software system. This is so beast system, so preparing us for the mark, man. I'm sorry, guys. How could it not be? I'm not sorry, but how could it not be? And we see so much of this. I mean, you see, I've covered this, but there's a lot of other people that cover this stuff as well. And a lot of it's not even on YouTube. It's articles. There's people out there are awake and aware. There really is a mass awakening, and it's not due to Q. I think it's more on a spiritual level. And we're seeing that division, sheep or goat, sheep or goat. But the tracking goes far beyond audible chirps. Arista's platform allows employers to continuously upload a record of close encounters to a corporate cloud, providing an up-to-date list of presumed social distancing violators that would double as a detailed record of workplace social interactions. The company's this sounds so terrible. The company's marketing language is explicit in talking up the non-viral benefits of tracking your workers' every move. By helping companies locate people and things in real time, the two are seemingly treated interchangeably. They can expect a reduction in unplanned downtime, improved asset utilization rates, and a reduced need for spares. Man, just tracking you every moment. Hey, Jim, where you been? I went to the bathroom. I know you were in there for 5 minutes. He's only supposed to be in there for 3. This is 1 mark on your record for the day. Pinch and wipe, Jim. Pinch and wipe. The company's marketing language is explicit. You got to love that. In talking up the non-viral benefits of tracking your workers' every move. There you go. This is a long article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can, at Zero Hedge, auto snitching, COVID tracking bracelets, flood market. Brooklyn Field Hospital shuts after $21 million construction and 0 patients. It's another one of those obvious signs of the madness surrounding the event. The false event. Let's see if there's some pictures here. A nearly $21 million field hospital greenlit by the de Blasio administration when Crown virus threatened to overrun local hospitals has opened and shuttered without treating a single patient, officials confirmed. Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York City announced plans on March 31st to transform the temporarily idle Brooklyn Cruise Terminal in Red Hook into a 670-bed makeshift medical site. That same day, he launched a smaller transformation of the Billie Jean King Tennis Center in Flushing into a 350-bed overflow facility. At a time when more than 8,400 patients were being treated in local hospitals for presumed or confirmed C-19, this tennis center, designed as a release valve for the beleaguered city-run Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, accepted its first patients on April 11th. The next day, hospital bed utilization across the city hit its peak. I don't want to read all this statistics, but we see what happened. Basically, they spent a lot of money, $21 million, on something that was never used and they never needed in the first place. Our tax dollars at work. Woman loses her job. Well, I'm sure they got a lot of bailout stuff too, a lot of bailout money and extra money. Some of that, how much was several billion? Was it 8 billion? Woman loses her job after viral video shows her calling police on black bird watcher in Central Park. Here it is. This is the Karen video I was talking about. And it's a classic. Again, I don't want to see into this. KJ's racist. He showed a video black people didn't look so good in. I'm just saying he's got to be a racist. Stop it. Check it out.
Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking pictures calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I'm in the ramble, and there is a man, African-American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African-American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my... I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
Oh, man. We got to watch that one. I got to watch that one twice. Look at this.
Sir, I'm asking...
I mean, the ultimate Karen. Again, we joke about it, and I don't know who coined that phrase, but I love it. It's one of those I'm with. Karen. It's a Karen. I mean, I know a lot of great Karens. Don't get me wrong. It's not about the name. It's just for whatever reason that kind of fits this. I don't know why. No offense to the Karens in my life, but that seems to kind of fit. But this is the ultimate Karen. You know, again, it's always like the white middle-aged woman that just starts spazzing out. You know, oh my gosh, it's a black person. I wasn't expecting to see one of you, you know, or something. Anyway.
Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking pictures calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Excuse me?
Oh, let me give you a little background. Sorry, some context to this, by the way. They're in a park it's a leash park where the animals have to be on a leash. So just before they started recording, this man who's out there bird watching asked her, you know, to put her dog on a leash. And then she started spazzing out and saying he was attacking her. So he started recording. And then this is what, so I'm sorry, I should have given you some background. Now you have fresh eyes. Okay, here you go. And now you know the rest of the story.
Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking pictures calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I'm in the ramble, and there is a man, African-American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African-American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my... I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
Now, there's more to the story, but not in video. Let me explain. I'll read. The white woman who is seen in a viral video calling the police and falsely accusing a black bird watcher for threatening her in New York Central Park was fired by her employer on Tuesday. investment firm, and this lady was with an investment firm Franklin Templeton fired Amy Cooper effective immediately following an internal review of the Monday confrontation, which has since been viewed online nearly 30 million times. We do not tolerate racism of any kind at Franklin Templeton, the firm wrote. Cooper was previously put on administrative leave by the company. She apologized on Monday night, calling her behavior unacceptable. I sincerely and humbly apologize to everyone, especially to that man and his family, she said. Christian Cooper, who is not related to Amy Cooper, filmed the incident in the Ramble area of Central Park on Memorial Day. An avid bird watcher, Christian Cooper told the Washington Post that he asked Amy Cooper to put her dog on a leash, which was required in the area. He said he tried to toss the dog a treat. He said he tried to toss a dog treat, to the pooch when she refused and began recording the altercation as Amy Cooper. So I had it wrong. The altercations, Amy Cooper said she would call the police. I'm going to, well, not really. I guess it's that's how I processed it, I guess, after reading it the first time. I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life, she can be heard saying in the video. Please tell them whatever you'd like, he responded. Amy Cooper appears to call 911 and becomes frantic, despite Christian being several feet away and not moving any closer to her. He's recording me and threatening me. All right, we saw it. We saw what happened. Anyway, I think her life's been ruined now. That's what happened to her. So there's some resistance to the rise of the Karens. New show, Labor of Love, sees 15 men compete to impregnate 41-year-old women. Woman. Wait, woman? Oh. So it's like, I guess that's her. Wait, what is this? Sex and the City's Kristen Davis returns to the small screen to front a controversial reality series that will see 15 men competing to impregnate a 41-year-old woman. I guess here's some of the imagery. And Kristen Davis is from Sex and the City. Just no offense to anybody out there, but to me, one of the most putrid television shows that was ever created, and did a lot of damage to a generation of women, I believe. So much so that even about a year ago, the lady that created the Sex and the City series, that wrote all of it and created it, she's in her 50s now. She wrote some article or some op-ed or whatever it is about how she wishes now that she had a family, and she's older, she's alone, and wasn't really expecting this. She's regretting what she did. I thought that was pretty interesting, her coming out and saying that. Anyway, trash television. There we go. Keeping it unclassy. One woman, all these dudes, all of them are going to try to impregnate her. Honestly, though, just when I think it can't get any lower, or more dumb, something like this comes out, I can still be surprised by things sometimes. I tried Burger King's new social distancing Whopper. Social distancing Whopper. These corporations, man, just such whores, if you will. Jumping in on the bandwagon. Burger King's got a social distancing Whopper. In Italy, Burger King has launched a new take on their most popular burger known as the social distancing Whopper, which is meant to help keep people away from you.
They're giving you 3 times the amount. Did you know that the Burger King in Italy is currently offering what's called a social distancing Whopper? Now, what is a social distancing Whopper? What they're doing in Italy is they're giving you 3 times the amount of onions that they would normally put on a regular Whopper. Now, they're hoping because they have to eat this burger, you're going to have such terrible breath that people will not want to come near you. So what we're doing today is we are recreating the social distancing Whopper that they have in Italy. So right now we're actually in a Burger King in America. We got the Whopper, and the way they do it in Italy is it's 3 times the amount of onions. So what we did is we asked them specifically for 3 times the amount of onions on the Whopper. I'm not really looking forward to tasting this. I have a very bad feeling. It's probably going to taste very badly, but let's give it a shot. This is the Whopper. This is how they're eating the Whopper right now in Italy. Take a look at all this. Look at all that onion. The onion is just literally falling all over the place, as you can see.
Man, I couldn't do that. Could you?
What it's going to be like.
I like
Italy,
some
you
onion,
get all the onion,
but
put it back on the burger. It's
I
falling.
like little chopped diced onions.
Get all that onion. There it is. We're putting it back on there. There we go. There we go. It's all there. Very gooey.
All right, we get it. I'm sure it's going to be terrible. Burger King launches social distancing crowns. That's why I was kind of talking about Burger King being WHORES. Launches social distancing crowns to make sure customers keep apart. Just when you think it can't get any dumber. Seriously. Excuse me. Our favorite fast food places have been firmly shut since the CV lockdown began in March. But finally, things seem to be changing. The last few days, several fast food chains reopened their drive-thrus for customers, including Burger King and McDonald's. And while hospitality venues are thought to be staying closed in the UK until at least July 4th, we might have just been given some idea of what the reopening of Burger King restaurants could eventually look like. In Germany, the Burger King chain has launched hilarious social distancing crowns to keep their customers apart while they tuck into their burgers and fries. Burger King's U.S. account took to social media to share a snap of two people wearing the giant cardboard crowns. They captioned the post, "Distancing, but make it fashion." The tweet has gone viral, garnering thousands of likes and hundreds of retweets, with many asking where they could get themselves one of these quirky headpieces. But their hopes would be dashed when Burger King replied, "Just take a quick walk to Germany." Ba-dum-ba. There it is. That's all there is. That's it. Google executive caught on hidden cameras saying that they will stop Trump's re-election. We already know. Maybe there's a video here. We already know. We know. Wait, there we go. It's Project Veritas. Oh, never mind. Oh, here's another one. This is real. This is actually a real thing. I haven't really had a chance to go through all of this. This might be something we can do on a live show or something. If there's really that much in here, I don't know. But this is an actual United Nations New World Order website. It's UNNWO.org. O-R-G. I mean, we've really gotten to this point now. I mean, you don't hear much about this. You know, I haven't really heard much about this. But, you know, here it is. And this is, you can look it up yourself. UNNWO.org. It says the United Nations New World Order Project is a global, high-level initiative founded in 2008 to advance a new economic paradigm, a new political order, and more broadly, a new world order for humankind, which achieves the UN's global goals for sustainable development by 2030. All right, not to toot my own horn, but I've made a lot of videos, you know, in the past talking about Agenda 2030, and other people have as well. And that's obviously an end goal for that beast system. You know, this is kind of the frame a lot of us have seen it in. And now we see it here in their actual words, it seems. A new world order for humankind, which achieves the UN's global goals for sustainable development by 2030, which is Agenda 2030, and the happiness, well-being, and freedom of all life on Earth by 2050. Look this up, man. Show this to people who think you're nuts, you know, talking about this kind of stuff. And here's some of the different branches, I guess. Look at this. Happytalism is a new economic paradigm which places happiness, well-being, and freedom at the center of human development models, systems, and all life. Okay. UN Global Goals, more happiness. The United Nations International Day of Happiness recognizes happiness as a fundamental human right and goal and is celebrated every March 20th forever. Huh. Advancing a new economic paradigm of happytalism since 2008. Sarkozy. There's so many pictures of Sarkozy involved with, you know, Illuminati hand signs. And this is from 2008. This quote, "A great revolution is waiting for us. The crisis doesn't only make us free to imagine other models, another future, another world. It obliges us to do so." And you can look up French President Nicolas Sarkozy, Illuminati or satanic hand signs, and you'll see quite a few, especially from back then. Anyway, we kind of get it. You get the idea. But I mean, this is stuff that we've been talking about forever, man. And again, talking about how the veil is lifting and everything's being revealed. This doesn't get any more clear. This is one of those clear examples of how for years we've been discussing how the veil really is lifting and everything's coming out, right? Everything's coming out into the open. Everything's being revealed. This is a classic example of that. Everything's being revealed. I'll bookmark that one and go back, and I'm interested to take a look at the entire site and just kind of read everything, you know, and see what's going on there. 2 men cross border into Arizona, start fires, and then they return back to Mexico. Border security cameras captured the events as 2 men crossed the border from Mexico into Arizona and set 2 fires before fleeing back across the border. The men set the fires in the Cocopah tribal land in an area where only a vehicle barrier secures the border. Yuma Sector Chief Patrol Agent Carl E. Landrum tweeted a video on Friday showing 2 subjects who illegally crossed the border and did this. We'll see if there's more to the story here. It says this is an example of the types of border barriers being replaced by, okay, it just gets into all that. But yeah, I don't know. China's Z urges preparedness for military combat amid CV epidemic. It's from May 26th. 3 days ago. Again, we've been watching that trend towards this. Washington State counting gunshot victims among its CV deaths. May 25th. Lying to up those numbers, right? Make it seem worse than it really was. Boo for Boris. British left organizes anti-Boris Johnson 2 minutes of hate. This really is straight out of 1984. It's so creepy. The CV era phenomenon of weekly public applause for medical workers has taken a less positive turn, as opponents of Britain's conservative government have called on followers to indulge in a public shaming ceremony. Plans to give opponents of the government a chance to vent their frustration in a united public show of hate, an emotion invoked by many in their writings about the plan online, has metastasized. Did I say that right? Metastasized on social media, apparently in response to the Prime Minister's decision to stand by the pro-Brexit special advisor, Dominic Cummings. Mr. Cummings, acting as a flashpoint for anti-government hate, underlines the way attitudes towards the 2016 Brexit referendum still acts as the greatest fault line in British politics, even during CV. As a guarantor with the government for Brexit being delivered as promised, and having only recently thwarted a plan to delay Brexit again, cooked up while he and Mr. Johnson were incapacitated with the CV, Mr. Cummings has made himself plenty of enemies. Twitter blue tick anti-Brexit musician comedian Vicky Stone, cited by local news media as instrumental in setting up the idea of launching a boo for Boris, told the Derby Telegraph that the fact Mr. Cummings was not resigning was beyond what is acceptable. So here's some videos of people, I guess, trying to do the boo for Boris.
Stay at home. You should not be from family members who do not live in your home.
I spent 2 weeks in hell, basically, trying to look after myself and my daughter.
Man, they got propaganda screens going through the streets. Unbelievable, man. The future is now, and it's He's very restrictive and authoritarian.
Taking any chances. Just take a look at me. I'm in the intensive care unit. I can't breathe without this.
Propaganda on wheels.
One of the hardest, cruelest parts of all this is burying the dead, and the fact that social distancing rules mean hardly anyone can attend a funeral now.
He was a young boy, age 13, without his mother, without any sibling on his deathbed in the last moment.
So many millions and millions of people across this country have been doing the right thing. Millions going through the hardship of self-isolation.
I will say, though, it just occurred to me, I guess I hadn't really thought of it at first, but I guess he had them stay indoors for 2 weeks straight? Is that the idea? Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. Okay. Let's watch that one more time. All right, let's read a little bit first. The suggestion of a coordinated booing follows 9 weeks of applause for medical staff in the United Kingdom, which started out as a voluntary expression of support for CARES, quickly took on more authoritarian tones in some neighborhoods. However, with one notable incident reflecting the leverage of social shame to punish individuals not turning out to applaud. As Breitbart London reported in April, a hard-worked British mother found herself too tired to take part and was subsequently named and shamed by an online mob. Explaining she had a rough night with her child, the woman said at the time of her community turning against her, "I was mortified. The post said everyone else turned out, and I showed the street up. And if I can't spend a minute showing my appreciation, I don't deserve to use the NHS if I or my family get ill. It's really disturbing how quickly people are ready to turn on each other and, quote, report each other." Yeah, right? World Health Organization suspends the trial of hydroxychloroquine as a C-19 treatment over safety concerns. Just keep that in mind. So, World Health Organization just suspended the trial of hydroxychloroquine as a C-19 treatment over safety concerns. And then I've got some other stories connected to that in a little bit. They're up. I'm just not sure where, but just remember that headline. 20-year-old prophecy of war between China and America igniting WW3 begins to take shape. Numbers 24:24. But ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and they shall afflict Ashur, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall come to destruction. As the pandemic that began in Wuhan ravages the world, tensions between the U.S. and China are flaring up, being manifested even in the military realms to a worrying degree as Chinese warships engage their American counterparts and U.S. bombers patrol the skies of Asia. A broader, more prophetically centered perspective may not give much solace to those who prefer to spend this time healing rather than fighting. China claims it expelled U.S. warship from South China Sea. Last Tuesday, the Chinese government claimed its military scrambled ships and aircraft to track, monitor, verify, identify, and expel a U.S. warship from the Paracel Island chain in the South China Sea. We covered that last week. Now it says it was reported on Sunday that the U.S. transferred 4 B-1B Lancer conventional strike bombers and a complement of about 200 airmen from a base in Texas to the Anderson Air Force Base on the island of Guam, less than 3,000 miles from the coast of China and about 2,300 miles from the China South Sea hotspot. The B-1 Guam deployment is the first of its kind since 2017, when the bombers were flown to Japan and South Korea amid tensions with North Korea over its nuclear program. PACF, Chief of Operations Force Management Lieutenant Colonel Frank Welton, released a statement emphasizing that the B-1 was capable of carrying the long-range anti-surface cruise missile, giving it an advanced standoff countership capability. The U.S. military continued its show of force in the South China Sea with a sortie over the contested waters on Thursday by 2 Air Force bombers. The B-1B Lancers from the 28th Bomb Wing at Ellsworth Air Force Base flew a 32-hour round trip to conduct operations over the sea as part of a joint bomber task force by the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command and U.S. Strategic Command. Tensions between the U.S. and China have also flared over the pandemic, which began in Wuhan. Several nations have criticized the Chinese government's handling of the outbreak of the epidemic, claiming that they misreported the data and mishandled the onset. Yep. Another long article. Don't want to read the whole thing. That's on Breaking Israel News if you're interested. Oh, and then there's this. Let's see. Yeah, check this out. This is Staten Island. It's in New York. People with masks on, they drive a non-mask wearing person out of a ShopRite. And this is happening around the world, right? We just heard that report from UK. If you didn't want to boo Boris, shame. We also have the masks.
Get out!
Yeah, grown ass woman that acts like a dirty ass kid.
What do you think?
Tree.
Listen to how mean they were being, too.
Get out!
Yeah, grown ass woman that acts like a dirty ass kid.
What do you think?
Tree.
It really is, again, just that lawlessness, spreading throughout the world, and the hate, on the rise, and just the frustration and the anger and the resentment. And I'm not trying to sound like Joel Osteen here, but the world really does need Christ. Really, all joking aside, that's always been the key, to me. And you may disagree, and that's okay, You're still welcome, of course. I just like to share my opinion from time to time on these things. But yeah, it's a shame to see that. It's the worst of humanity. And we think, not to be so apocalyptic here, but you think about when there really is a breakdown, when there really is a divide, when things get really, 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 really bad. We've seen glimpses and the beginnings, if you will, of it. But what about when things get really, 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 really bad? Maybe not in your area, but in some areas it will before others. Maybe some areas will go relatively untouched. Who knows how this thing's gonna roll out? But wow, so again, some people are gonna immediately think it's time to get more guns or whatever. And I'm with protecting yourself and all that. I'm with all that. Don't get me wrong, but I really think it's time for prayer, a time to draw closer to our Heavenly Father. If you don't have Christ, if you're interested and curious, it's very simple. Admit you're a sinner. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. I can't do that right now. Sorry. All right, let's move on. I'm going to take a drink. Hold on. It's just water. All right, let's move on. They did it again. CBS caught using photo from Ukraine in 2016 in their panic porn on crown virus in children. We've seen this kind of stuff before. Hold on. CBS wanted the pandemic to look as horrible as possible, so they used Italian footage to describe New York City at the time. This weekend, they did it again. CBS News was caught using photo from 2016 in Ukraine to describe a baby suffering from Kawasaki disease linked to the crown virus. And you can see the similarity there. It's so wrong. You see the same picture. You can see the bracelet in the back there. Here's the 2016 photo describing an infant suffering from Coxsackie virus. It's rough. And here's the same image used by CBS to describe a rare condition in children. Unbelievable. Again, linked to the crown virus. So CBS used that image to describe a rare condition in children linked to the crown virus. There you go. Just more lies. More these little liars being caught. Oh, I'm not going to really play a lot of this, but I can just kind of show you even right there. This is the follow-up to that video from Lift the Veil about the YouTube channels with mind control stuff and all that. This is one of them, or one of the videos here. And that's all it is. It's just this image for 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's it. With the colors changing in the background. The same ones that he was describing in the video. You know, red, green, blue, yellow, pink. Anyway, I'll just play a few seconds. So again, if you get freaked out or triggered by stuff or whatever, watch out. But I'll just play a few seconds of this. And that's it. Anyway, imagine watching that, hearing that sound, and just watching these colors change for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's crazy. So that's weird. I don't know how to pronounce that YouTube channel, but you can, and this right here is from May 23rd, 2020. And look at the strange symbol there too. So LZW and then all those other letters. You can, pause the show and then look that up if you're interested. But just be careful, because I think you might be looking at some real hardcore bad stuff here for your mind. Let me see this. Oh, this right here pretty much explains itself, I think. Check this out. Again, look at the links they're going to. This is in, where is this? Check this out. Let's see. Make it bigger. France, I'm guessing, right? But, I mean, this is apparently a real thing. That definitely cannot be the new normal for anybody. It's just freaky, isn't it? Wow. I covered this one a few weeks ago when the news first came out, but I guess it actually went down. The Price is Right donates almost $100,000 to Planned Butcherhood and RuPaul special. They want you to spay and neuter. They want you to spay and neuter more than just your pets. I wonder if Bob Barker would have approved. I doubt it, they say. There's this. I guess there's maybe a video. No, it's just a picture. All right. Wrong on so many levels. Really sucked when that first came out. I like Price is Right. It's one of those shows I've watched for years. A lot of us grew up on Price is Right. After state killed 275,000 jobs over C-19, sheriff now evicting residents who can't pay. And this is in Oklahoma. You got to love it. Home state. Since March, unemployment across the country has reached record and potentially catastrophic numbers. In the entire country, a record 38.6 million Americans have filed for unemployment during the pandemic. That corresponds to nearly 25% of the entire United States labor force. While many of those folks are receiving unemployment from state and federal government, many others are not. Millions of Americans who watch states close non-essential businesses, subsequently crushing their careers, cannot even access unemployment benefits, according to the Economic Policy Institute. While some of these problems have been remedied, for others, collecting unemployment insurance was never an option. Business owners who are unable to obtain an SBC loan or other forms of C-19 government subsistence have been frantically fighting to reopen their businesses as they watch their life savings go up in flames. The Free Thought Project has reported on multiple instances in which people unable to obtain government support have tried to reopen their businesses to support themselves, only to leave them in handcuffs. It's a catch-22. Of those millions of jobless claims in the United States, over 250,000 of them were in the state of Oklahoma. That's huge. With a population just under 4 million, 275,000 unemployed residents is massive. While some of those folks have likely sought out and found jobs to support themselves and their families, others have likely endured conditions which may have prevented them from doing so. As a result of the state shutting down the economy, these unemployed residents of the state have been unable to pay their bills, including their rent and house notes. Now, in spite of the fact that this record spike in unemployment was a function of the state's C-19 measures, Oklahoma is taking action in the form of evictions. On their Facebook page this week, the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office announced that they will begin physically evicting residents unable to pay their bills. It reads as follows. This is nuts. We know that this will be difficult, but want to give as much notice as possible regarding OCSO deputies serving eviction notices. Deputies will start serving judicial eviction orders this week, and enforcing evictions on May 26th, 2020. We understand how tough times are currently for many as a result of the health crisis the past few months, but we must enforce orders issued by the courts. Once the order is served, tenants have 48 hours to leave the premises of the residence they are renting. Unbelievable. Please, if you're set for an eviction hearing, attend. Make sure or make your case to the judge, the only person who can determine your case. Civil process in our issuing evictions is mandated by state law. It says we'll be compassionate and respectful during scheduled evictions. We are hopeful that everyone issued an eviction will be able to make living arrangements. Wow, that's rough. How about that, huh? Wow. We'll see how that plays out, I guess. This, May 22nd, it's about a week ago. Really cool footage. Day turns into night, Beijing, China. Check this out. That looks like something out of the Avengers. Isn't that crazy? For real.
5 p.m. Suddenly, darkness.
Yeah, here he explains.
3:45 p.m. Suddenly, darkness has descended upon Beijing. Literally 10 minutes ago, it was pretty light, and now it's this.
So, keeping that in mind, I'm waiting on that lightning. Oh, did you look at that? It looked like, I don't know if it's just something with the camera, but look in the center of that, and it looks like there's something, big and white moving to our right on the screen. Right there, about center frame, just above the horizon there. Up in the sky, there's something big and white, it looks like, that just moves. There it is. It starts down there. Okay, watch it. Let's see if that's something. Yeah, I think we just saw something. You see that? Yeah, watch. Okay, so we're watching. You see that big white thing right there? It looks like a big thing of smoke or something, maybe. But then watch, it looks like it moves. It jumps up and then goes across. Who knows? Maybe something? Maybe just smoke. There we go. Let's check this crazy lightning show out here. Look at this. That is one of the craziest lightning shows I've ever seen. Suddenly the descended into darkness.
3:45 p.m. Suddenly darkness has descended upon Beijing. Literally 10 minutes ago, it was pretty light, and now it's this.
Wow. And then that lightning storm kicks in. It's pretty crazy. Oh, here's one. It's just kind of a shout out, really. I've shown a few of his videos on these shows before, Memology 101. And it looks like he may have removed one of the messages, but his top message here, he wound up getting, I guess, 3 strikes on his channel. Now, a memology, he's not, so much in, conspiracy realm or paranormal or supernatural stuff or whatever, but I really like him because he's about as punk rock as you can get, in so many ways. I like his channel. I like the way he does his videos. They're real short. They're to the point. And ultimately, he's a truth teller. It's just he tackles some different areas and different subjects. He does get into some of the, some political things and more social type things and some YouTube drama from time to time. But I just like I like his attitude. I like the way he makes his videos. He's very creative and to the point, good stuff. And I just have always had a good feeling towards this channel. Anyway, of course, he was probably telling too much truth. So he got 3 strikes at one point, but this message is from 9 hours ago. It says, good news, a strike got removed, but the person striking me could give me a new strike at any time as he is impersonating people and companies. I can upload again as 1 strike got removed, thankfully. Hopefully everything remains calm. Thanks for the support in these crappy times. The channel is far from okay. I'm still fighting other false strikes given by the same idiot who is impersonating people. His story is too, he's he lives in Honduras and he makes short videos and stuff like that. And that's kind of how he started his channel. And like I said, I think he's really good at what he does here. But this right here, it says, this is from 2 days ago. The nut job responsible for impersonating people and taking down my channel with false copyright strikes is this. It says he confessed. And it's Vox journalist, I guess. I guess that's it. Anyway, so just kind of a shout out. I hate to see a good channel in trouble or a channel going down, but it's this platform. It's just tougher and tougher, man. And he definitely just put stuff right out there. The way he felt about some things and some videos. Should be no problem with that. Just being honest, not saying anything bad, not whatever. Just well, I say not saying anything bad. I mean, no cuss words or nothing X-rated or anything, but I'm rambling again. But yeah, just want to give Memology 101 a shout out. Hopefully things work out for his channel. This one is for the gamers in the audience. I don't know if there's any gamers out there or not, but also film fans perhaps. David Lynch is a real interesting character. I really like his movies, a lot of things about his movies. And then as I grew up, got older, and started learning about symbols and symbolism and things like this, just really blown away by how much he knows, how much he uses in his shows. And he really does. It's especially in the last Twin Peaks series they did was, wow, it's a lot of stuff in there, a lot to take in. Anyway, he understands his, he's into some strange spiritual stuff or whatever. I'm not with all that, but I don't throw it all out. I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I like certain aspects of his art, and some of the strange movies he's made. He's a very interesting guy. So I thought this was interesting when David Lynch inspired Shooter. It's a game coming out. You're only shooting robots, I think, but it's called Industria, announced for PC, releasing in 2021. So let's check this out. Little trailer here for it.
Right.
David Lynch video game. That's why I thought it was interesting. Who would have thought?
I know you're on your way home. You left the office just when I came in. I don't know if you've heard it yet, but people are gathering at the border controls in Berlin. I have to do it.
And I can't wait for you. I don't want to drag you into this. It's serious this time. I'm going in now.
I don't know. What do you think? Kind of meh. I don't know. Some interesting visuals in there. It might be a game I'd check out just for the story. Who knows? Video shows altercation between looters and woman in wheelchair outside Minneapolis Target. Have you guys seen this one yet? This is nuts. They were trying to say that she. They were saying she's STABBING people, but she wasn't. It turns out, I've seen in some forums some people were saying they think this was all set up. So I know that there's always someone out there that's going to think that it's all set up, and there are elements of all this that I think are set up. I mean, it reminds me of kind of the Trayvon elements of the Trayvon situation, elements of other shootings similar to this we've had. But I can't prove it on some of these things. I guess I haven't been able to prove it, but there's plenty of theories that some of these are Masonically created, through some Masonic police officers will create these kinds of events in some cases. And, started off just to create more of the chaos, because chaos ultimately is what's going to bring Lucifer. I know. Sounds crazy, right? Wow. Just a shame, man. Either way. Right. So again, don't get mad. I'm not saying it's, it's not one way or the other. It's just chaos time. It seems like it's chaos time, and there's more of these stories coming out, and be watching for even new TV shows and movies coming out soon about stuff like that, and more of that programming, And this is just the headline alone. Fartsy, Dr. Fartsy, not safe to distribute communion, but sex with strangers is your choice. So again, just the hypocrisy, the lunacy of some of this stuff. Mitch McConnell stresses need to wear face masks in public. And I wanted to share that just as an example. And I've said that's my issue with, the right in America is a lot of times they're kind of do nothing, or they're weak-willed, or they bend their knee really easy. And I feel like a lot of that is because of all the masonry in Washington. And that's why a lot of these people are in the same groups. They may be opposed politically, but they'll be in the CFR or the Trilateral Commission or any other number of these kinds of organizations and groups. So you see stuff like this, just another example. He's, the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, and now he's, bending a knee to the mask culture and all this stuff, and they're making big news stories about it, and unbelievable. So, just stand your ground. Don't be afraid of people shaming you for if you believe that you're okay, and they're all taking hydroxychloroquine anyway, and they're all taken care of. So just don't wear a mask. Dozens of universities face lawsuits for failing to provide on-campus learning. College is absurdly expensive. While some of the markup comes from the school's reputations, much of the price tag is in exchange for the experience. Access to professors, relationships with classmates, and academic, athletic, artistic, religious, and social activities and groups are all a major part of both the college experience and the education itself. Those aspects and their associated benefits are lost when classes are moved to Zoom, or worse, pre-recorded lectures. Further, college campuses provide resources for students which are lacking at home, including quiet study locations and access to comprehensive libraries. While many schools acknowledge the need to refund students for the portion of their on-campus dorms and meal plans unused, many believe that tuition should be likewise discounted for the commensurate drop in quality and failure to deliver the promised experience. So I'm not going to read the whole article, but that's going to be another one to watch. How are universities going to fare out of this? And you know what? So many of the universities in America really are, as they call, they say liberal institutions, but they really are in the worst possible ways. I don't know. I think I'm okay with seeing all this stuff change, fall apart, break down, and them having to rebuild, maybe not so one-sided, maybe not so controlled. And the costs are out of control. I'm still paying off my student loans. But seriously, it's insane. My school was really expensive, unfortunately. I went to a film school, like a private film school, and I've talked about that in the past. I've told you guys where it was and everything. Disney's Pixar introduces first gay lead character in children's film out. Again, man, just coming after the kids. Do the kids need this? We don't need that indoctrination, do we? But it just keeps it coming. Psychiatrists wrote 86% more prescriptions for psychotropic drugs during lockdown months. Not even surprised, but that's sad. Think about that. Prescriptions for anti-anxiety medications and sleep aids have risen during the pandemic, prompting doctors to warn about the possibility of long-term addiction abuse of the drugs, reports the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, just think of how many addicts are going to come out of this too, unfortunately. And I hope some of you, I'm sure, are probably on some medication out there, but I hope you take heed to these kinds of stories. And I'm sure you understand, it's dangerous messing with those pharmaceuticals. It really is. And some of the best people can get addicted to that stuff. According to Ginger, an organization that provides mental health services to companies, compared to January and February of this year, prescriptions for psychotropics, most of which were antidepressants, were up 86% for the months of March and April. The stress of unemployment, social isolation, and health concerns are all cited by Americans who say the lockdown is having a serious impact on their mental health. Pharmacy Group, Express Scripts, also revealed that prescriptions for anti-anxiety medications were up 34.1%. Whoa. Between mid-Feb and mid-March, while prescriptions for antidepressants increased 18.6%. The numbers emphasize the significant mental health toll created by the lockdown, which will reverberate for many years to come. As we highlighted yesterday, doctors at John Moore Medical Center in Walnut Creek, California, say they have recorded more deaths from suicide than Crohn virus, with a year's worth of suicides and suicide attempts being recorded in a 4-week period. Community health is suffering, warned Dr. Mike DuBois-Black. DuBois-Black? That's a real name? Mike DuBois-Black. I didn't write this. I'm just saying. Mike DuBois-Black. That's his name. Oh, Blanc. My bad. I didn't see the N. Okay. I don't have the best sight. That definitely changes things. But you got to admit, Mike DuBois-Black, that'd be an interesting name. As he called for the lockdown order to be fully lifted. There you go. There it is. All kidding aside, I really hope that some of you may be on these things, and just be careful. Be wary of these. Do everything you can to get off of them and find other healthy, more natural alternatives. Look into Kratom. I used Kratom myself, Kratom. Kratom's awesome. You can get it, it's all over the place. You don't need a prescription. It's all natural. It's a flower. It's been crushed. There's different strains. Some give you energy. Some, the best, are for pain relief. So check that out. Check out some Kratom, Kratom. It's so powerful that many people have used it to get off of opioids and to get off of heroin. So look into it. New Mexico liberal governor Michelle Grisham locks down state, then calls jewelry store for special purchase, and now she can't get her story straight. Let's check this out. Classic. Well, again, whether right or left, right? I mean, there's a Republican guy just got busted. I think he's a senator or a congressman. He's one of the two, but he got caught making trade deals and stocks and stuff deals after a meeting about the pandemic early on, and he benefited from it. It was him and then 3 Democrat senators. It's 3 Democrat senators and this guy. He's a Republican senator. But so they're, I'm not saying it's not always completely one side, but it certainly seems to be tilted more, doesn't it, in one way? Anyway, let's check this out.
But first tonight, did Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham play by her own rules? Tonight, News 13 has learned back in April when she ordered non-essential stores to shut down and lectured all New Mexicans to stay home, a non-essential business opened so she could buy jewelry and have it basically hand-delivered to her. What does the governor have to say? Here's tonight's News 13's special assignment.
I get it. Staying at home is hard. It is incredibly hard.
April 3rd.
I need you to do better.
The governor once again hammered home that New Mexicans needed to stay home and only go out for essential items such as food.
Our formal orders extending our instructions to stay home and the closure of business and the identification of essential businesses will be extended through April 30th.
All non-essential stores were closed.
We are in really tough financial times as a state. It mirrors the incredible personal sacrifices that happen every single day because people have limited their ability to work and in telecommuting, and many people, in fact, have lost their jobs.
But just days after that news conference, a week before Easter, News 13 has learned Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham called an employee at Lily Barack on Paseo to buy expensive jewelry. It was bought over the phone, but the employee went to the closed store, got the jewelry, and placed it outside the door of the store, where someone who knew the governor picked it up. This, according to the person who runs Lily Barack stores, who said she didn't know about it until after it happened, and said no one was allowed in the stores at that time. The governor refused an on-camera interview, but has a different version. In an email, the governor's spokesman has said Lujan Grisham did call an employee at this store, saying that they had a long-standing personal relationship. The employee came here, got the jewelry, took it to their home and left it outside, and someone picked it up. The governor's office first told us it was a campaign staffer, then later said that it was the governor's friend, but would not give us a name. The governor says this transaction was completely contactless, remote, and permissible. He then directed us to the governor's own order at the time, stating none of the state's public health orders have restricted the conduct of business operations in which an employee only interacts with clients or customers remotely. But that same order also states it requires the closure of physical retail spaces and doesn't mention anything about home delivery. So in a time of non-essential closures where curbside was not allowed, we asked if home delivery was okay. The governor's spokesman said it was not a home delivery, and businesses were encouraged to find creative ways to conduct business safely. He also added the store was not opened for the governor. Quote, turning the key inside a door to open a store wouldn't violate the order, saying non-essential businesses all across the state let employees in to do inventory or clean.
I'm a little put off by that because it's my understanding, unless I totally misunderstood everything, but it's my understanding that we were to be closed.
But other businesses like Mark Diamond's Jewelers did not interpret the orders the way the governor's office did.
No, absolutely not. We were adhering to the stay at home. We weren't even coming into the building.
A manager at Gertrude Zachary says no one was allowed in the store and they wouldn't even risk it because of a fear of fines. They thought online sales through shipping was their only option. but they got zero customers, losing hundreds of thousands in business.
We gain more by having people show us what they're made of, by adhering to these policies to the highest degree that they can.
We asked about the two people who left their homes to get jewelry to the governor. Her office says this was an unusual transaction. And while, of course, the governor has been telling people to stay home to the greatest extent possible, it's also true she's been urging New Mexicans to find ways to support local businesses.
So could you have called up a store and gotten this kind of service? The governor says it depends on who you know. The governor's office saying that if New Mexicans had a personal relationship with the business and the business was trying to stay afloat while staying safe, then certainly this transaction could have occurred.
We try very hard to lead by example.
Now we talked to the manager of
just more of the hypocrisy, and we know. Still, it's nice to see them get caught from time to time. This is why I wanted you to remember that headline earlier about the World Health Organization discontinuing research on hydroxychloroquine. Anyway, this is the president of El Salvador announces that he's been taking hydroxychloroquine, and I'll just read the article. President of El Salvador has announced that he's taking hydroxychloroquine as a preventative measure against the CV. Bukele told reporters on Tuesday that most world leaders are doing the same, and has questioned why world leaders are being advised to use it while the public is not. He says, I use it as a prophylaxis. President Trump uses it as a prophylaxis. Most of the world leaders use it as a prophylaxis. President Trump has been a proponent of the drug, which is normally used to treat malaria, and recently announced that he had been taking it. Anyway, just with that, because here in America, I'm sure you guys probably seen it in other countries too, but I mean, the American media just went crazy about President Trump announcing he was taking this, and suddenly every news channel's got hour-long discussions with panels of 6 to 12 people discussing the dangers of hydroxychloroquine and how could President Trump be taking it. And it's all just so exaggerated and insane. It really is honk honk. It really is a clown world to watch this all fall apart. But in a weird way, I kind of take some joy in it, seeing it all just fall apart. It was all fake anyway. And we know where it ultimately leads. There's going to be some rough spots, with the beast and all. But it's only a short time. And afterwards, it's going to be something that we can't even imagine. Good, something good that we can't even imagine, beyond good. Can't even put words to it. Words can't even express it, I think. Anyway, so yeah, honk honk.
Raymond, tell me about what.
Oh, here we go. Just more honk honk. I do love some of the madness in American politics. Check this one out.
Raymond, tell me about what Biden's. A little gas came out of the can at one point. What happened?
Well, during the town hall today, Biden let something slip. Listen very closely here. Look, I've long said Biden has trouble getting it out. He didn't have that problem today.
So dumb.
You can study from actual weed smokers, though.
Yeah, I do. I know a lot about people. It's about making sure you don't have to cut those teachers and firefighters, police officers, and cut critical healthcare programs, or stop work on roads and bridges. So
the guy reacts. I'll play it a few times.
Firefighters, police officers, and cut critical healthcare programs, or stop work on roads and bridges. So teachers and
one more time.
Police officers, and cut critical healthcare programs, or stop work on roads and bridges. So,
Laura,
that was
that flatulence.
Chair.
Well, some are saying it's flatulence. It may have been the most coherent thing Biden said all year. Look, it's one of two things. Here are my two thoughts. Okay. One is this is his solution to energy independence, natural gas, or he's tipping his hand to who his real running mate might be, Eric Swalwell.
Yeah. Oh, well. Biden farting. I guess that constitutes a doom break. Disney introduces openly satanic kids show. It's from May 27th, 2 days ago. What's up? And this is from dailypoliticalnewswire.com. It says, what's up with Disney? It's not bad enough that there are subliminal messages and occult symbolism in their films. Now the Disney television animation is airing a series that promotes demons and witchcraft. I mean, again, man, see, it reminds me of the UN NWO. Everything coming out, it all falling into place, just full on out. Here you go. Now we'll go ahead and give you entertainment with demons and witchcraft straight up. And they've done that, peppered a lot of that in throughout the years. But anyway, let's read on. Disney describes the show The Owl House as follows. The series follows self-assured teenage girl Luz, who discovers a portal to another realm where humans are not well liked, and she must disguise herself in order to fit in at witch school, WITCH, of course. Luz, the main character, is a 14-year-old Dominican-American teenage girl. Her mentor, Ida, the owl lady, of course it's the owl, is the most powerful witch on the Isles and a wanted criminal for selling magical items to humans. King is a demon warrior and Ida's roommate. The evil nemesis in the story is a character named Warden Wrath, who wears a plague doctor mask, probably wears a red baseball hat too, with white letters on it. Wrath keeps his enemies in a prison called the Conformatorium for the crime of being different from everyone else. The setting for the demon realm is on the Boiling Isles, which is the decaying corpse of a titan. And we know where the titans come from. The Fallen. If the elements sound a bit too creepy for a Disney production, even Newsweek noted that the dark side is familiar turf for them. And then, of course, mainstream, of course, this is nothing new, man. This scary stuff in Pinocchio. And anyway.
This one day,
I guess this is some of the show here.
I found a portal and ended up someplace I could have never imagined. Okay, well, I totally have imagined it. But this is even better.
This is even better. Like a little kid's voice, too. That's so wicked. Yeah, we're going to go to hell. Like literally, into the body of a fallen one, of a fallen giant, Nephilim giant. Wow. And into the fires of hell for witch school. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and resave this, put this to because this might be a good one to, put in a video with some more stuff. It's pretty insane, though, isn't it? Wow. And next up, we've got, you know what? I'm an American, and no, I don't worship my country and all that other shit. I did serve active duty 8 years, but by the way, I hope everyone had a decent Veterans Day or Memorial Day recently. It's hard to say a happy one. It's not necessarily a happy occasion, but here's one of those things about America that's just, especially these days, you may disagree, but I think it's kind of great. But here's some guys that are lawful black firearms owners standing guard outside their businesses. And this is how they do it. It says, I stand with them. This is how you protest legally, responsibly. But these guys are just protecting their own property with weapons, and it's keeping people away. It says 4.7 million views. I'll play it a couple times.
They said run up in here and see what happened. On fan out here with them Blicks on them. Blicks on them. Run up in this black on. Nigga, you see that black on. Run up in this bitch. Oh my mama, we gonna do that to y'all ass. They said run up in here and see what happened. On fan out here with them Blicks on them. Blicks on them. Run up in this black on. Nigga, you see that black on. Run up in this bitch. Oh my mama, we gonna do that to y'all ass.
I mean, of course, it's a shame it comes to this. I'm not cheering on violence and all this other stuff, but ultimately, it's just a shame it's coming to this. The division all around, the rise of the violence, the fact these guys got to do this, the fact anybody has got to do it. It's just a shame, but it's a spread of that spirit, the way I see it. And the rise of this kind of stuff, hatred, people turning against each other, family, friends, of course, the races and stuff now, with all the programming elements of it. And the only thing that can keep us together, again, I'm no preacher here, you know, I'm no Kenneth Copeland, but Christ, as simple as a child, can keep us all connected, you know. Arresting officer in George Floyd case taken into custody by BCA. Just the headline. Apparently, you know, it's the guy that did it. So let's see how this all plays out. And we will. You know, we'll follow up next week and see what happens over the week. But I'll be watching this throughout the week and seeing. And this whole thing, man, I'm just not sure. I haven't really had a chance to look a whole lot into it personally, you know. But I mean, it's obviously what he did. Obviously. I mean, just right there for minutes. Like 4 or 5 minutes, he was like that, right? Was it longer? I thought it was only 4 or 5 minutes. I'm not sure, but still, that's long enough. It took someone's life, you know.
Okay, we didn't get.
Oh.
Okay, we didn't get.
Check this out. This is.
Let's start rolling some of the vid.
The 1992 LA riot. Store owners protecting themselves by having shootouts, it says. Surprised this video is still up, honestly. But yeah, this is from 92, and just seeing everything that's happening right now.
Videotape. We
Just
were
thought I'd show you some of
area
this
right
stuff.
outside of Korea.
This is Koreatown, actually. And these guys are here in Koreatown. They're doing the same thing. They're just protecting their property. And it's like something out of a Hollywood movie, isn't it? All right, I probably can't play a lot of that, but
We were showing some of this to you live.
it's wild, huh? What is this? Oh, that's the Twitter safety thing. And then there's this. So that's another one of the reasons I wanted you to remember that headline about hydroxychloroquine. Is this right here? Trump just announced that U.S. is terminating the relationship with the World Health Organization. We've been seeing this coming anyway, but that's like billions and billions and billions of dollars, you know, gone for them. So, you know, some may say this is I mean, look, I'll take the little victories as they come or anything good. And it doesn't mean I'm suddenly sold out to Trump or suddenly sold out to this one or sold out to that one 100%. Or I'm certainly not a Q follower, and it's no offense to any of you out there that are, but I followed some of the information that comes out. I still do. Some of the info is good, but I'm just not into the whole, you know, Q thing myself. But still, you know, you take the good when it comes. You don't just want to be sitting around all day thinking about the bad news, you know, so you take the good news when it comes. I think this is good news, man. So we'll see. But it's also just, man, just stoking the fires. I mean, you know, where is this going to go, you know, right? Well, we kind of know where it ultimately goes, but it's just so interesting watching it through those eyes, kind of, you know, how it's playing out. If you want to look at it through those eyes, it's kind of an end times type thing. And all the mysteries with Obama, there's certainly a lot of things with Obama where he very well could be, you know, the son of perdition, you know, once revealed as, right? The lawless man, you know, so there's other possibilities people have. I've always had eyes on Obama or a Maitreya type, alien type figure or something with the tall whites, you know, and it's all shapeshifters. They're all the same thing. It's what I've talked about for years in my videos too. But I look at those kind of possibilities. But anyway, if that's true, and if Obama is that, you know, well, you know, it's how much more of this back and forth, and they're going after Obama apparently for his connection to monitoring Trump ever since 2016 with all of his people that were still left in all those government positions after him that he'd placed there. They were still, you know, he's still running things basically in some ways. So we'll see how this thing plays out. But so of course, again, World Health Organization quits the hydroxychloroquine. It's not safe. And so we just see these different ways it's coming out. Colin Kaepernick posts message cheering violent rioting, denouncing civility. in response to the George Floyd death. Again, just stuff like this, more of that fanning the flames of it. He says, when civility leads to death, revolting is the only logical reaction. The cries for peace will rain down, and when they do, they will land on deaf ears because your violence has brought this resistance. We have the right to fight back. Rest in power, George Floyd. 298,000 people, 86.5 thousand talking about it. Wow. Just fanning those flames, you know? What would Jesus do? I'm not trying to be funny, but really, you know? He certainly wouldn't have that hairdo. Okay, this one. Oh, this is the target from the inside. Some footage. Wow, look at that. It's crazy. I don't want to play too much because this might be one of those. This is one of those that'll probably try to claim it. That happens a lot. These shows always get claimed, by the way. Pretty much any live show I do showing you things, it'll usually get claimed by somebody. It doesn't mean my channel's getting strikes in that way. It just means, you know, they claim the video so they get paid for it. And that's, you know, the channel is demonetized, but there will still be videos on or ads on some of these videos or shows. Probably not the videos, unless there's some footage I'm showing you that gets claimed or a song, but usually not the videos. But these shows like this where I show things, most of the time it will. But that's what that is. You know, I'm not lying about being demonetized. You know, I really was demonetized, but they can still make money off of your work. It's another one of those kind of shady, crappy things about YouTube, you know. You can have I could have a 5-hour-long show and they can claim 15 seconds of a video I show you, and then they're going to get paid off of everything. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy. Joe Biden calls game and tech executives little creeps whose games teach you to kill people. Biden on the games, the gamers. I mean, in some ways he's right. Some of those games definitely, I think, have some form of mind control involved, and there's some real dirty, shady stuff. A lot of it has Illuminati symbolism or satanic symbolism. There's a game, I can't remember which one it is, but it was a real random thing you could find out on your own. They never told you about it, but if you took this shotgun and you're running through kind of a post-apocalyptic world, and if you shoot the top of these cars, a pentagram shows up. Just right. So that's one thing. I can't remember the name of the game, though. I can't remember which one that was. Armed citizens stand guard against looters in Minneapolis. This has a lot of views, too. 7.64 million.
Tell me who you are.
Well, I mean, free Americans, yeah.
And what are you doing today?
We were out here yesterday, too, down on the original protest site. It's basically, you've seen the records that cops keep. And cops are a lot less likely to try and tread on.
Here's where, you know, you can see you can see the good, you can also see the bad, you know, and you can also see this is all a perfect setup for, let's say, some shady government group or organization or whatever, or a handful of individuals to step in and really start something naughty. You know, I'm just saying. So again, if you're a prayerful person, I hope you pray over this whole situation happening and all the people out there, everybody.
Well, I mean, free Americans, yeah.
And what are you doing today?
We were out here yesterday, too, down on the original protest site. It's basically, you've seen the records that cops keep. And cops are a lot less likely to try and tread on people's rights when there's other armed Americans with them. So we figured it's about damn time that some, or at least I figured that it's about damn time some heavily armed rednecks stood with fellow citizens.
And why are you protecting this store?
Well, I mean, this wasn't exactly a specified action. We've been kind of, so we just kind of ended up here. We've been moving around and just trying to see what's.
And, you know, even them using that term redneck, you know, that's been just really twisted throughout the years, hasn't it? There's a couple places where that comes from. One is probably the most common you've heard, that it was the slave drivers, right? The white guys on horses would be out there all day in the sun watching over the slaves, making them work, and they'd always have a red neck. And that's the one that you may have heard the most of. But there's another one that you may not have known this. The Scottish people have a connection to slavery. Around the time in America where there was slavery, they were indentured servants. So a lot of Scottish people immigrated to America, and for whatever reason, many of them settled in North Carolina. And they also brought part of their religious with them, and they fought against a certain religious group there at the time. I can't remember which one. I don't know if it's a fist fight or just a more political or minds type fight. But all that aside, one of the things they would do is wear these red bandanas around their necks. That's one thing they brought with them from there. And as time went on, that idea of the redneck, that's another place where that came from. But there's a whole history here you can look more into. But so that's kind of an interesting connection. And that's where, again, the Scottish people could understand that idea of slavery and what the black people went through here. And I don't know if you ever knew about any of that. It's just a little bit off the top of my head here. But anyway, let's continue here. So, redneck isn't necessarily always a bad thing. I'm in the Midwest, and I've friends and family throughout the years in the South and Midwest that could definitely be considered redneck, so to speak. But that doesn't always mean they're racist, hateful people. Oftentimes, it's quite the opposite. It's Bible Belt too. A lot of times, they're Christians. They may be more Bible type, or not Bible type, but like church type, if you will, more religious minded, but still good-hearted, people, and they'll help anybody, So anyway, let's watch this for a second.
Free America, yeah.
And what are you doing today?
We were out here yesterday too, down on the original protest site. So basically, you've seen the records that cops keep, and cops are a lot less likely to try and tread on people's rights when there's other armed Americans with them. So we figured it's about damn time that or at least I figure that it's about damn time some heavily armed rednecks stood with fellow citizens.
And why are you protecting this store?
Well, I mean, this wasn't exactly a specimen action. We've been kind of, so we just kind of ended up here. We've been moving around and just trying to see what's what without getting necessarily completely slapped by massive groups of people. And while we were walking, somebody mentioned that there were some guys at the back of the house who wanted to know if they were over to buy something, and they said that they're closed and they're defending their businesses. Oh yeah, Target's on fire. Yeah, by the way. Yeah, and anyway, so we heard that. We're like, well, we better kit up and go see if these guys need help. And it turns out these guys are out here with machetes and shattered windows trying to keep looters out of the business because cops can't get in here. And so, I figured before they were cops, they were just Americans. So here we are, already out during the LA riots. Or during the LA riots, collateral damage. Everyone protecting their own stuff. That's where, you got rooftop Korean. So bottom line, justice for Floyd, and I hope they stop looting at some point. If there were more of us, we could go stop them from looting, but it's just us four. Yeah, we definitely don't agree with the looting. Yeah, no looting. But we do agree with the cause of the protest. Yeah, definite protesting.
There you go, man. How about that? Chubbs, come here. Chubbs just walked in. Maybe he can say something to us. Protests pushing New York City streets into anarchy, and this was premiered 13 hours ago. So let's see if I can play some of this here. We'll just play a little bit here and there. But yeah, this is New York City, man. Hey, hold on. Hey, Chubbs. Oh, no? Don't want to say nothing? What a jerk. All right. Feet rushing to wickedness, or lawlessness spreading, an antichrist spirit. That's the way I view this, But also kind of the perfect setup with everybody wearing masks too, that suddenly we have this, not quite nationwide, but a spreading kind of a rioting. Anyway, there you go, man. Have you seen anything about this on any news channels? Them showing what's happening in New York City? Have you seen any mainstream news showing you any of this footage of what's happening? Monkeys attack lab technician, steal COVID-19 blood samples in India. When I read this, if ever there was a goofy setup story, bogus, whatever, maybe this is it. But then if it's true, what a weird world we're in. We already knew that. But look at this. A gang of monkeys assaulted an employee of a medical college in northern India and snatched blood samples of CV positive patients from him, causing panic among locals. Like, that's the reason why? Interesting. I don't know, but just really... The brazen attack took place in broad daylight on the campus of the state-run medical college in the town of Meerut in the state of Uttar Pradesh earlier this week. The lab technician was transporting the tests from 4 patients undergoing treatment for CV. All of a sudden, this is in quotes, monkeys grabbed and fled with the blood samples, unquote. The authorities said it wasn't clear if the thieves were able to open the samples and spill the contents, but the resourcefulness of the animals is well known. A video which swiftly went viral on social media shows one of the monkeys sitting on a tree and chewing on the sample collection kits. Oh, wow, that's...
मेरा इसमें आ रहा है भैया, देखो क्लियर है और मेरा क्लियर है हाँ एकदम क्लियर लोग बाकी बंदर आ गए वहाँ अरे आप मेरे नंबर भेज दो क्लियर है हाँ जी बिल्कुल भेज दो और पास से बनाऊँ क्या पता चला वहीं मेरा हाथ से छीन के लेगा मोबाइल ना बस बहुत है इतनी नीचे भी है यार नीचे भी यहाँ से छीन के ले गए
Oh, well, it's hard to tell what he's doing, but it's always cool to see a monkey in a tree. This right here, you guys probably heard about. This is pretty big news. Again, it's leading to the whole, 230 argument, publisher or editor. Is that what the argument is? For these social media companies, including YouTube, all of them. So Twitter started a fight. Anyway, this is from the White House, and it says this tweet violated the Twitter rules about glorifying violence. However, and this is the second one. They actually did this to him twice, to Trump. So this is the second one. It says Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain accessible. And if you view it, it won't let me, I guess. Oh, there you go. Oh, he's talking about George Floyd. Anyway. Oh, let's see what he says. These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Oh, boy. Again, martial law, we always know that was kind of one of the end games, for this system. If they can use the military, in just certain moments like this here and there, sure, right? Like, why not? If you have to, you have to. But we certainly don't want to see some nationwide lockdown and suddenly troops in all of our neighborhoods, neighborhoods being fenced off and things like that from each other, just pure madness. But he says, I just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty and we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you. Oof, there you go. But still, Twitter, really? I mean, come on. But we get it. We're not surprised by this, with what's happening. It's full on warfare on many levels taking place. And then there was this one here. This is a victim, not a physical, but he's a victim of his business got screwed up out there, and he lives in this area. He's from there. Check this out.
Today, we found poor boy Bala, who invested his life savings into opening this sports bar, cleaning up. While our camera was there, looters came back to try to steal his safe.
Right, trying to steal the safe.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We worked so hard to get here. So hard.
Today, we found poor boy Bala, who invested his life savings into opening this sports bar, cleaning up. While our camera was there, looters came back to try to steal his safe.
Right, trying to steal the safe.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We worked so hard to get here.
Again, the point of showing you this is just, it's how many levels of destruction, that all of this is leading to, and so much of it unneeded on so many levels, and how it just spreads. And that's just how this spirit is spreading and feeds off of the chaos, more chaos. And with more chaos, we know ultimately comes more control. It's just such a really sick cycle, isn't it? It's just a shame. But a lot of people are being hurt by this. Black people and white people and brown people and all people. It's terrible. Again, that footage from New York, man. It's all races involved doing this, It's not a racial thing. John Reeple, Cadillac pawn and jewelry owner, booked on bad word. Why did I bring this one up? Oh, this was just more footage from a pawn shop getting hit. Pennsylvania officials admit duplicate ballots were mailed out to voters. So again, just another example of that, the voter fraud, right? It's a very real thing. And we know that that's one of the big distractions now is, the 2020 election, but it's going to be interesting, man. It's a wild ride. It's really is a wild ride watching all of this unfold, total chaos. But, we know that ultimately it leads to a good place. So, all right, guys, hey, that's the last story. I'm going to jump over here to the chat for a little bit and just say hi. See how you guys are doing. Hope you're doing well. Thanks once again for being here tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Told you we had a lot to get through. Want to shout out once again to my Patreon and PayPal supporters out there. Thank you so much. I gave some updates at the beginning of the show, so I don't need to go into all that stuff again, but got plenty of stuff on the way. And just thanks again, man. Thank you to the moderators as well. Y'all always do such a good job, so thanks. And also to our friends overseas that stayed up probably way too late. I know it's really late for some of you out there, but thank you for joining in, even if you're listening later. And of course, all of our friends closer to home. Just thanks to you all. I appreciate you. And I always like to end these shows on just a short prayer. So if you don't mind, I'll just say, Heavenly Father, thanks again. These shows are always so much fun. I love that I have people I can share these things with, and they share so much with me too. So just thank you for this community, this group, for this platform. And, help us all to look through these things in proper context, not let fear rule our hearts or anything, and stay focused. And not to forget to live our lives, and certainly not in fear, but as conquerors. And on that note, I love you. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, guys, thank you once again. I also got a new sponsor. I put a note up in the community tab earlier, but it is a really cool thing. I use it. It's Brave Browser. There's a link below. If you download it, it comes with DuckDuckGo as your search engine, and it's awesome. I've been using DuckDuckGo for a long time, so it's really good. It's also in a direct competition with Google, which makes it even more awesome, and it's totally free. So if you check it out, also it helps the channel. So thank you very much for that. Okay, enough of the business. Got plenty of stuff coming up over the next few days and weeks. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate you. It's about time to do another show where we all hang out and chat. So I'll make sure and line one of those up probably this week. We'll hang out and have a live chat where you can join in. All right. Okay, man. Well, until then, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.